媒体朋友们，大家好，欢迎参加14届全国人大3次会议记者会。本场的主题是经济主题。大会新闻中心很高兴地邀请5位嘉宾出席今天的记者会，并回答大家的提问。5位嘉宾分别是 国家发展和改革委员会
Chairman of the National Development and
郑山
Reform
杰
Commission, Mr. 郑山杰
财政部部长蓝佛安先生，
Minister of Finance, Mr. 蓝佛安
商务部部长王文涛
Minister of Commerce, Mr. 王文涛
中国人民银行行长
Governor of the People's Bank of China, Mr. 潘功胜
中国证券监督管理
Chairman
委员
of the
会
China
主席
Securities Regulatory Commission, Mr. 吴清
谢谢。
Thank you.
现在请直接开始提问。
The floor is now open.
请北区第1排第3位男士。谢谢。
Thank you. Market News International. A question for Mr. Zheng and the National Development and Reform Commission. The government work report set a GDP growth target of around 5% this year. However, some international institutions are expecting around 4.6 to 4.8%. How to ensure China reaches its goal of around 5% this year? And what specific work will the National Development and Reform Commission focus on to support achieving this target? Thank you.
美国国际市场新闻社，我的问题提给郑山杰主任和国家发展改革委。政府工作报告已经确定2025年中国经济发展的预期目标为5%。与此同时，一些国际机构的预测为4.6%到4.8%。请问您如何看待中国经济形势？今年5%左右的目标能否实现？那么国家发展改革委将如何推进相关工作？谢谢。
谢谢您的提问。
Thank you for your question.
借这个机会呢，
With this
也向
opportunity,
各位媒体的朋友，
I would like to
这
also
个感
extend
谢
my
对我们
appreciation
发展改革工作的关心和
to
支持。
the friends from media
这个问题呢
for，your
大
interest
家
and
都
support
很
for the
关
work
心，
of
各
development
方面
and
都很
reform.
关注。
It is a question
今
on
年这个
everybody's mind.
5%左右的预期目标，
This year's
是
growth target
党
is
中
set
央、
at
国务院
around
经过综合
5%.
研
It is
判
a、decision
科学论
made by
证
the Party Central
系统
Committee
平
and
衡
State Council
稳
through
慎提出
comprehensive
的。
evaluation
在工
and
作层面
scientific
上呢，
verification
我们
and
也为
systematic
实现这个
balancing,
目标，
as well as prudent
这个做了
deliberation.
扎实和
On
充
the
分的准
implementation
备。
level, we have done every
经济发
preparation
展
for
是一个
realizing this
连续的
target.
过程。我
Economic
们首
development
先
is a
的
continued
看一
process.
下去
We
年
must
的
first
经济发展
take
情
stock
况，
of our
因
economic
为这
development
涉
over
及
the
到
past
发
year,
展的基础和
which
发展的趋势
lays
态
the
势。
foundation and shows the
过去的
trajectory
一年，应
of
该
the
说
economic
发展
development.
的历程很不平凡。
Over the past
中国
year,
经
the
济
journey
展
we have
现了
traveled
强
was
大的
actually
韧性和活
extraordinary.
力。
The Chinese
我
economy
们
has
经历
demonstrated
了
strong
前高
resilience and
中低
vitalities. We have
这个后
experienced
扬的
a
这
very
个
good
态势，
start, some fluctuations in the
交出
middle,
了一
and a
份难
very
能可
strong
贵、
rebound
成色十
at the
足
end，of the year.
应该说呢
We have handed out
令人
a
满意的一个成绩
hard-earned
单。
and satisfying and inspiring
特别是呢，
answering
党
sheet.
中央审时
Particularly
度势，果
After
断的
careful
决策
deliberation,
部
the
署，
Party Central
实施了
Committee
一揽子的
has
增量
acted
政策，
decisively and rolled
这
out
个
a
为顺
series
利
of
完成全年经济社
incremental
会发展的
policy,
主要目标，发挥了
which
决定
played
性的作
a
用。
decisive role in securing the
那么这个
growth
成绩
target
单呢
set
有
for the
4 个
year.
特点。
There are
第一
four
个呢，就
characteristics worth
是
mentioning.
增量大。
First is
我
the
们
increment
去年
size
的
is
经济
big.
总量已经接近
Our
到
GDP output last year is
135万亿。
approximately 135 trillion yuan.
这个世界经济的发展情况来看呢，我们对世界
Judging
经济
from
发展
the
的
world
这
economy,
个
we have
增长的贡
contributed
献力保持在30%。
approximately 30% to the world
从一
economic
年的
growth.
增量来看呢，我们形象
Our
的讲啊，
economy's annual
就是相
increase
当于呢一个上海的经济
is
总量。
equivalent to the economic output of Shanghai
那么
or
如
even
果
more,
从国际上来看呢，
or from
这
the
个增量
international perspective.
相当于
And this annual
全
increase
球排
is
名在
equivalent to
第
the
20
GDP
个
of a
左
country
右的国家
ranked
的
at around
经济总量
20th in the whole world.
第二个特点呢，
Second,
就是质量高，
The quality
新
is
动力
high.
快速的在成长。
New growth drivers are growing
这
very
里我
fast.
想用一组数据呢来做一个说明。
I would like
像
to
我们这个
use
新
a
产
set
业
of
新业态
statistics to
新商业模式
prove
的三
my
星
point. the share of new industries, new forms, and new business models in the total GDP has increased to over 18%. The added value of high technology manufacturing industry has increased by 8.9%, faster than the growth rate of industries above designated cell by 3.1 percentage point. On new energy vehicles, the production of new energy vehicles output over the past year has exceeded 30 million units, accounting for 60% of the global output. The production of integrated circuit is also growing very fast. The exported volume of integrated circuit stood at 1.1 trillion yuan, which is also a historic high. The total R&D expenditure exceeds 3.6 trillion yuan, an increase of 8.3%. The number of patent-owning businesses in China stood at 500,000, increased by 16.1%. These are all excellent data proving China's economies, which also demonstrated the quality of China's economic growth. In the meantime, the transition and upgrading of traditional industries is also accelerating. Something worth mentioning is that the vitality of private economy is also growing. And they have accounted for 64.7% of the total export of this country, which added another 1.4 percentage point compared with the year before. Private investment in manufacturing sector and infrastructure sector increased by 10.8% and 5.8%, which is significantly faster than the average growth in investment. The third characteristic is a solid foundation. Our grain output over the past year exceeds 70 million tons, setting a new historic high. It is fair to say that the rice bowl of the Chinese people is firmly held in our own hands. Our energy supplies are better supported, and important resource reserve systems was improved, and basic public services level was further promoted. And the fourth characteristic is that the momentum is good. Strategic emerging industries, future industries, and many other core technologies has achieved new breakthroughs in areas like integrated circuit, artificial intelligence, aerospace, biomedicines, marine industries, as well as new material industries are all growing very fast, with new growth drivers cultivated in a faster pace. And the upward trajectory of the economy in the long term is much more salient. From a holistic approach, this result stands as a testament to the implementation of the decision of the Party Central Committee of ensuring both quantitative and qualitative growth of the economy, as well as coordinating high-quality development with high-level security. This result has laid a very solid foundation for this year's development. Just now, this journalist has asked that some international agencies are making different projections of China's economy. The one you have said is about 4.6 to 4.8%. We've also noticed that uncertainties in the external environment is also building up, and we're also witnessing problems like lack of demands domestically, or the operational struggles of some businesses and industries. However, we believe that these problems arise in the course of development, which can all be addressed. From a holistic approach, we have advantage in our system, potential in our market, and vitality in our businesses. And most importantly, we have the courage to face up to these risks and challenges, and confidence to address these issues. It is fair to say that the realization of this year's growth target is well supported. We're full of confidence of achieving that target. Use a catchphrase which is very popular in today's world. It is fair to put that hurdles loom insurmountable, yet each falls resolved. And the journey ahead runs endless but bright as we
作为宏观经济
advance.
调控的综合部门，
But of course, arduous efforts are needed. As a comprehensive department focusing on this particular area, we're going to act on the decisions of the Party Central Committee, as well as the specific arrangement of the government work report. And from the implementation's perspective, we have listed measures from 10 different perspectives in our report in this year's 2 sessions. And I would like to briefly introduce from the following 4 aspects. First is to combine consumption promotion with well-being promotion and devote greater efforts to boost residents' consumption. For example, the trading policy, which has already been started last year, and our supporting capital for the trading policy has grown from 150 to 300 billion RMB, with the supported scope expanded as well. In addition, in order to adapt to the increasing diversified consumption needs, as well as consumers' scenarios, we are, together with multiple different departments, we are drafting a specialized plan of actions of boosting consumption, which will be issued shortly. Second, we'll combine the implementation or the improvement of shortcomings with boosting of future growth drivers. On public investment, with this year's ultra-long special treasury bond and local government special bond and central budgetary investment, we will have 5 trillion yuan of capital pool to support investment. In this process of investment, we're going to focus more on investment returns and prioritize projects that lay the foundation and benefit the long term. On private investment, over the past year, we have brought private capitals into important infrastructure projects, including nuclear power plants construction. Over the past year, we have also recommended 8,000 plus projects to private capitals, which achieved very good results. This year, we're going to continue to support private businesses to diversify their investment portfolio in emerging industries and future industries. We're also going to roll out a series of important projects in areas like railway, nuclear power plants, hydropower station, and important scientific infrastructure system. Third is to combine the cultivation of new growth drivers with the traditional ones, and to build a modern industrial system. On the one hand, we will continue to grow emerging industries and future industries. In the recent period, we're going to establish a National Venture Investment Guiding Fund, which aims particularly at promoting innovative businesses. On the other hand, we're going to upgrade traditional industries. Recently, the executive meeting of the State Council studied policy to resolve structural contradictions in key industries. We're going to draft industry-based policy to guide the exit of low-performing productivities and expand supply of mid to high-end productivity to better let the supply side suits the changes of the need in the market. Fourth is to coordinate breakthroughs in specific areas with development in the overall picture. For example, we're going to further implement the guiding principles for building a unified national market, promote high standard opening up, and further unclog domestic international dual circulations, and comprehensively effectively lower the whole societal logistic cost. And we're going to reduce unreasonable costs in all sectors. And we're going to roll out and publicize the private economy promotion law. And we'll also speed up the resolution of overdue payment, which is on everybody's mind. According to the decisions of the Party Central Committee and the State Council, the NDRC will work with relevant departments to strengthen our coordination and comprehensive balancing, strengthen policy coordination in areas like fiscal policy, monetary policy, policy on employment, industries, investment, consumption, and regional policies. And we also enhance the macro policy consistency while boosting its performance and strive to meet the target set for the year. Thank you.
请大家继续提问。请中区第2排第1位男士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。中央广播电视总台记者提问，我的问题呢提给蓝福安部长。蓝部长你好，政府工作报告对更加积极的财政政策做了部署，那么请问今年的财政政策将在哪些方面体现更加积极？谢谢。
China Media Group, my question is for Minister Lan Fuan. The government work report lays out plans to adopt a more proactive fiscal policy. In what ways will this year's fiscal policy be more proactive? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your
借
question.
这个机会啊，
With this
感谢
opportunity,
媒体朋友们过去1年对
I would
财
like
政工作
to
的
first
关
thank
心和支持，
friends from media for interest and support for
更
our
加积
work.
极，这是多年来啊
More
首次出现
Proactive
的一个词儿。
fiscal policy
大家
is
都比
a
较
new
广
term that emerged in recent years,
宏观调控
which
啊
attracted
要以
wide
经济
attention
情景
from
相适配
the，general public.
财政
Micro
政策
adjustment should be adapted
需要
to
向
economic
节制
situation. In the
因此
same vein, it is needed
那么
to
实施
adopt
更加积极的财政政策
discretionary fiscal policy and act in accordance with the trend.
和前期的
Adopting a more proactive fiscal
做出
policy
重大的
is
决
a
策
major decision made by the Party Central Committee
基于
from a
充分
strategic
考
and
虑
overall
实现
perspective,
年度预期目
which
标的
fully
需要
grasp the need
入
for
主国力
realizing the annual
增强
growth target,
中长期
as well as
发展的动力
boosting the mid
体现了
to
宏观
long-term
调控
development,
针对性和
demonstrating the precision and forward-looking nature of macro
你
adjustment.
提到的更加积极呢，可以
You have
理解
mentioned the
为
word
持续
more
用于
proactive,
更
which can be
加给
which can be understood as
一方
more
面
sustained and
在
stronger
实施好
policies.
存量政策上
On the one hand, more effort is needed in carrying out
抓好
existing
去年
policies.
4季度出台的一揽
We need to
子
implement well the policy
政策落地
package
见效
put forward
确
in
保政策效
Q4
率
last
在
year
今年持续
and make sure the
有效
sustained
释放
effect of these policy in
另一方面呢
2025.
在谋划
On the other hand, more
增量政策上
concrete
出实招
incremental policy should be designed.
用好用足政策空间，
We need to make full use of the policy space
促消费，
and
增
draft
后
more
进
incremental policy
及
focusing
时
on
研究
livelihood,
新的增量政策，
consumption, and future
前
growth
后贯
drivers
通，
and
接
ensure
续发力，
policy
确保力度更大，
consistencies so as to carry out stronger
各
and
方面
more
的
precise policy
更有获得感。
to benefit
今年
all.
财政政策更加积极，具体体现在以下5点：
There are 5 dimensions to look at
一
this
是
year's fiscal
在赤
policies.
字安排上
First,
更加给力。
More robust
今
physical
年赤
deficit
字率
arrangement.
按4%安排，
For this year, the deficit to GDP ratio is set at around 4%,
5.66万亿元，
which is 5.66 trillion RMB, adding 1.6 trillion RMB on top of last year's
均
budget
为
figure.
近年最高。
Both the ratio and the scale of the deficit set a new record high in recent years,
二是
showing
在支出
stronger
强度上
countercyclical
更
adjustment.
加给力。
Second, more robust
今年
fiscal
全国一般公
spending.
共预算支出
This year,
29.7
general public expenditure
万
in
亿
government budget are
比
projected to
去年
increase
增
by
4.4%。
4.4% to
财政支出进一步
29.7
扩
trillion
张
RMB
将有
compared
力
with
促
last
进
year.
经济社会持续健康
More
发展，
robust fiscal spending will inject solid
三是
impetus
在政
into
府
the
债
sustained
券规
and
模
sound
上
growth of the
更
economy.
加给力。
Third, larger scale
今年
government
新
bonds.
增地方政府专项
The
债券
additional special
4.4
debt
万
ceiling
亿
for local governments amounts to 4.4 trillion RMB.
超长期特别国债1.3万亿，
1.3 trillion RMB of ultra-long special treasury bonds will be issued, giving greater priorities to renewal and trading
良
policy.
心政策，发行首批特别国债5000亿元，
The first batch of special bonds of 500 billion RMB was scheduled to support large state-owned commercial banks in China to enhance their Tier 1 capital.
今年新增政府债
Taking
券
into
规模
account the
达到
treasury bonds for deficit financing and local government general bonds,
比
the
去年增加2.9万亿元。
The total added government bonds
四是
amounts to 11.86 trillion RMB with an increase of 2.9 trillion RMB
今年
compared with
中
the year
央对
before.
地方转移支付安排
Fourth,
10.34
more robust
万亿
transfer payment. This year, the transfer payment from central government to local government is set at 10.34 trillion RMB, increased by 8.4% on comparable basis.
有效提高
Focusing on
地
general
方财政
transfer
保障
payment,
能力，
it sets to enhance local fiscal autonomy
增加安
and
排
capability.
促进高质量发展，
We
激励
also
资金
scheduled
引导
incentive
地方
funds
提高发展
to
质量，
boost high-quality
增
development
强内生动力。
and guide local government to strengthen quality
五是
and
在
internal
重点
drivers of
领域
growth.
保障上更加给力。
Fifth, stronger support
今
in key
年全
areas.
国教育支出、
This
社会
year's
保障
spending
和
on
就业支出均
education and
接
social
近
security and
4.5
employment
万亿
are all close to
分别
4.5
增
trillion
长
RMB,
6.1%
with a
和5.9%。
projected increase of 6.1% and 5.9% respectively, while
增长
spending on
8.3%。
public
卫
health
生健康、
and
住房保障
housing
等
and
领域支
other
出保
areas
持较高的增幅。
rising continue to see high growth rates.
我们将持续加强财政科学管理，
In the meantime, we'll continue to strengthen scientific physical management, deepen reform in physical and tax
坚
system,
持过紧日子的要求，
faithfully implement the requirements for party and
花在
state
刀刃
organs to
上，
tighten their
发
belts
出好的效果。
and make sure that every coin is
在
well
这里啊
spent.
我还要补充一点，
Here, I would like to add
为
on top of what
应对
I've said,
内外部可
in order
能
to
出现的不确定
respond
因素，
to the uncertainties of
中央财政
domestic and
财力
international
流量
environment,
充足的
the central
储备
government has
和政策空间。
has left
谢谢。
ample room for policy to be implemented in the coming year. Thank you.
请南区第3排第1位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，我是澎湃新闻的记者，我的问题想提给王文涛部长。王部长您好。今年以来，中国消费市场持续扩大，亮点纷呈，尤其是消费品以旧换新的政策带动了手机、平板电脑等新一波消费的热潮，服务消费表现很活跃，成为了推动消费市场增长的重要力量。请问下一步，商务部在扩消费方面还有哪些举措？谢谢。
The paper. My question is for Minister Wang Wentao. Since the beginning of this year, China's consumption market has continued to expand, marked by many highlights. In particular, consumer goods trade-in programs have led to a new wave of purchases of electronic devices such as mobile phones and tablets. Consumption of services has become an important driver for the growth of the consumption market. Going forward, what more measures will the Ministry of Commerce take to boost consumption? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问，也
Thank you
谢
for
谢
your
大家
question. I also
一直
want
以
to
来对
thank
商
all
务
of
工
you
作的
for
关注和
the
支持。
interest in and support for the
我
work of
先
the Minister of Commerce.
说说去年吧。
Let me begin
从
by a
规模上
recap
来
of
看，去年呢
last
社
year.
会消费品零售
In
总额
terms
呢
of
是
scale,
达到
total
了
retail sales in
48.3万亿元，
2024
同比
amounted
增
to
长是
48.3 trillion yuan, up
消费呢
3.5%
仍
year-on-year.
然是经济增
Consumption
长的
remains the primary
第一大动力。
driver of economic growth.
同时呢，
At
服
the
务
same
消
time,
费延
consumption
续
in
良好
services
的
has
增长
sustained
态势，
the
服务
momentum
零
of
售的
positive
增长
growth,
是
with total retail sales
6.2%，
in services
但
growing
是
by
这个增速
6.2% year-on-year,
远远高于
which is
社会消费品
much
零售总
faster
额的增速。
than retail sales.
它就成为一个
in
消费
consumer
的一个
goods.
新的增长点。
So consumption in
你刚才也提
services
到
has become a
了
new
亮
growth
点的
area
问题
of consumption. You asked
从去
about
年
the
来看，
highlights and new
应该
trends.
说，亮点最大的亮
I
点
think
是高频池以旧换新。
in terms of
刚才
highlights
郑总
and
也提到了
trends, consumer
以旧换
goods
新
trading
以
is
旧换新呢
now
成
a
为家喻
buzzword.
户晓的高频
And
池。
Minister Zheng
以旧
also
换新啊，
mentioned
不仅
this.
是一项经济政策，更是一项
Consumer
惠
goods
民举
trading is
措。
not just
为
an
什么这么
economic
说呢？
policy,
以
but
旧换
also a
新呢，
concrete measure
唤
that
出了
brings
发展
benefits
的
to the
新动
people.
能，带动了
The
汽
trading
车
program
特
has
别是
generated
新
new
能源
drivers
汽
for
车
development,
家电、家装消费呢超过了
unleashed
1.3
over
万亿，
1.3 trillion yuan of automobile, home appliances, and home decoration consumption, and a boosted industrial transformation and upgrade,
同时
and
呢
the
它又是一项
development
惠
of
民
new
生。
quality
为什么这么
productive
说呢？
forces.
因为
It's
以旧
also
换
a
新
measure that
唤
brings
出了
benefits to
好
the
生活
people,
更智能、更环
because
保、
more
更安全的
intelligent,
消费品
greener, and
走进
safer
了
consumer
千家
products
万
have
户。
entered millions of
再说说
households.
服务消费，大家可能也
And
关
through the
注到了
trading program,
今年
people are now
春节
living a
啊，
better and more
这个服
quality
务
life.
消费的市场还是
In
十
terms
分
of
活跃。
consumption and services, you may have
亚
noticed
冬
that
会
this year's
带动了冰雪热
Spring Festival
是
saw
一冷
booming
热
sales in the
反差
consumer
很大。
market.
哪
The
吒
Asian
2 带
Winter
动
Games
了
ignited
看电
passion
影
for
观
ice
影
and
热，
snow tourism.
非遗
哪吒
春
2 and
节
other
打
films
响
attracted
了入
moviegoers
境
to
游的开门
cinemas,
红，
The incorporation of Spring Festival into the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List gave a strong boost to inbound tourism. The Chinese New Year has become a global celebration. The momentum of consumption recovery and growth has been further consolidated. On the other hand, domestic demands remain sluggish, and the potential of consumption is yet to be fully released. Specifically, the main problems with consumption in goods include weak consumption capability and willingness and dampen effective demand, while the main problems for consumption in services are the lack of lack of supply, especially high-quality supply. The government work report has made plans for boosting consumption and stressed the need to stimulate economic flows and industrial upgrading by boosting and upgrading consumption. The Ministry of Commerce will work with relevant ministries on the implementation of these policies. We will combine the efforts of boosting consumption and improving people's livelihood and come up with more practical and effective measures to release the potential of consumption. And this year, we will work on the following two priorities. The first priority is the continued implementation of the trading program. We will focus on expanding the program's coverage and deliver greater benefits to the people. Building on last year's policy and following the central government's decision, we have focused on meeting the actual demands of consumers and expanded the categories eligible for trading subsidies. For home appliances, the categories have expanded from 8+N to 12+N, and new subsidies have been introduced for mobile phones, tablets, smartwatches, and bands. According to statistics, by March the 5th, 310,000 applications for automobile scrapping subsidies and over 70,000 applications for automobile replacement subsidies have been received. Over 9.4 million consumers purchased over 12 million products under the 12 home appliances categories, and over 34 million consumers applied for trading subsidies for over 42 million mobile phones and other digital products. So the growth in applications is very rapid, and we've also upgraded our services and improved work efficiency to make the trading more convenient and safer for consumers and truly deliver the benefits of the policy. Another priority is trading services, and the key is opening to the world and revitalizing domestic market. Last year, China's per capita GDP surpassed $13,000. International experience shows that when per capita GDP exceeds $10,000, consumer demand for services will be released at a faster pace. We can see this from our own experience. In the past, people went shopping mainly to buy stuff, but now people have other options. They will choose places with good entertainment options, beautiful sceneries, and nice restaurants, which means they now care more about services. As I said, in consumption in services, the main problem lies in supply. Compared to the rapidly growing and increasingly diverse demands, new business forms and scenes featuring the integration of business, tourism, culture, and sports need to be innovated and improved. Education, medical services, health, and other sectors need to be further opened up. Gaps remain to be filled in the services for the elderly and children. Going forward, following the goal of opening to the world and revitalizing domestic market, the Ministry of Commerce will focus on increasing the supply of high-quality services to meet consumer demands in services at all levels. On opening to the world, we will promote pilot programs on widening market access in telecommunications, medical services, education, and other sectors, push for the orderly opening of internet, culture, and other sectors, and promote the comprehensive pilot programs of expanding, opening up in the service sector to spearhead the opening of service sector nationwide, attract more high-quality services, and improve the quality of supply. We will optimize the visa policies of foreigners coming to China, improve the convenience of immigration, accommodation, payment, and other services, and cultivate globally oriented education, medical service, as well as convention and exhibition markets. On revitalizing domestic market, last year the State Council issued the opinions on promoting high-quality development of consumption in services. This is a policy document of overarching importance. Together with relevant departments, we have issued 18 policy documents in old age care, child care, cultural tourism, ice and snow economy, and other service sectors. So that's what we call 1+N. For example, the recently launched action plan of Silver Hair Tourist Train is highly popular among to roll out policies and special measures to support the development of key sectors and services concerning people's livelihood, and increase the supply of diversified services in health, old age care, child care, domestic work, and other sectors by widening access, relaxing restrictions, and improving regulation. In the meantime, we will carry out the campaigns of service consumption upgrade and organize a series of events that promote service consumption, such as service consumption festivals and the Chinese gourmet festivals. And recently there was an event called enjoying the good food when watching a good film. And also we have enjoying sports games and enjoying good food event. And we will continue to encourage various localities to promote integrated development of various business forms and create new scenes for service consumption in light of their local features and the specific consumer demands. Thank you.
这位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。新华社记者提问，这个问题想问潘行长。2024年货币政策成效明显，昨天的政府工作报告明确了2025年宏观政策取向，提出实施适度宽松的货币政策。请问央行在这些方面有怎样的考虑？谢谢。
Xinhua News Agency. My question is for Governor Pan. The monetary policy in 2024 was effective. The government work report has made clear the macro policy orientation for 2025. And it is proposed that an appropriately accommodative monetary policy will be applied. So for the PBOC, what are the considerations behind this? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Friends from the press, good afternoon. In 2024, the PBOC conducted multiple relatively big policy adjustments. In particular, in last September, we introduced a package of incremental financial policies which effectively boosted market confidence and contributed to steady growth of the economy. On aggregate policy, the required reserve ratio was cut twice, and we cut policy rate twice and guided LPR downward. On structure, we introduced relending programs to support science, technological innovation, tech transformation, and government-subsidized housing. And we improved financial policies for property market and reduced mortgage rate and minimum down payment ratios and pushed for lower interest rate of existing mortgage. On exchange rate, we adopted a holistic view and maintained stable expectations and kept RMB exchange rate basically stable under complex situations. On policy transmission, we improved the monetary policy framework and conducted buying and selling of treasury bonds in open market and advanced reform of the accounting method of quarterly value added of the financial sector and stepped up supervision and enforcement of interest rate policies. Generally speaking, the countercyclical adjustments were yielded notable results and their benefits will continue to be felt. At the end of last year, aggregate financing at M2 and loans in RMB terms grew by 7 to 8%, all higher than the nominal growth rate of the economy by 3 percentage points. And cost of finance is also at a historic low. Yesterday, Premier delivered the government work report, which identified the projected targets, micro-policy, and key tasks for 2025. The PBOC will faithfully follow the decisions guidance and instructions of the central leadership, ensure sound implementation of the appropriately accommodative monetary policy, and strike the right balance between short-term and long-term needs, between stability of growth and risk prevention, between internal and internal equilibrium, and between supporting the real economy and keeping the health of the banking system. First, on aggregate policy. Monetary policy orientation is a description of status. Since last September, the Federal Reserve of the United States has cut its rates 3 times by a total of 100 basis points, but its policy rate is still at a high level. Its monetary policy is still restrictive. Over the past few years, the PBOC has cut the RRR and policy rate a few times, and our monetary policy is supportive. It is generally accommodative. As mentioned by Premier Li yesterday, we will continue to keep abreast with domestic and external economic and financial situations and the financial market operation, and make a reasonable cost to RRR and interest rate at appropriate time. And now we will also use a host of monetary policy tools, including open market maneuvers, MLF, relending and rediscount policy and policy rates to maintain sufficient liquidity in the market, to lower the debt cost of banks, and push for lower cost for aggregate financing, and to keep growth of aggregate financing and money supply in step with projected targets of economic growth and prices. On structure, we will strengthen financial support for major strategies, key areas, and weak links, further expand the relending for science, technology, innovation, and tech transformation, expand the coverage of policy support, and use all instruments under structural monetary policy to guide financial institutions to increase their input of credit to support sci-tech finance, green finance, small and micro businesses, and pension finance. And we will consider new instruments to give special support to investment and financing in sci-tech innovation to boost consumption and ensure stable trade. We will use the monetary policy tools in support of capital market and work with the CSRC to explore day-to-day institutional arrangements and support the steady development of the capital market. And third, on policy transformation, and will further improve the interest rate adjustment framework, continue to strengthen regulation of and enforcement of interest rate policies, and we will advance measures such as capital replenishment by banks, ensure smooth function and monetary policy transformation, and guide banks to make well-informed assessment of risks. We will also step up synergy and coordination with the fiscal policies to ensure the sound delivery of the proactive fiscal policy, and so as to facilitate dynamic equilibrium between industry supply and demand, and support economic structural transformation and upgrade, and also the shift from old growth drivers to the new ones. At the same time, we'll work with the fiscal side to ensure the monetary policy has synergy with fiscal interest discount and risk compensation and other measures. Fourth, on exchange rate, we will stay committed to the decisive role of market in formulation of the exchange rate and ensure its adaptability. We'll strengthen the guidance of expectations and resolutely guard against risk of exchange rate overshooting. Keep the RMB exchange rate basically stable and adaptive and balanced level. Thank you.
谢谢。是。
谢谢主持人。上海证券报中国证券网记者提问，我的问题想提给吴清主席。去年4月，国务院发布新国9条，证监会及相关方面配套出台了若干政策文件，请介绍一下相关政策文件的实施情况。政府工作报告提出要更大力度促进股市健康发展，证监会下一步有哪些考虑？
Shanghai Security News. My question is for Chairman Wu Qing. Last April, the State Council published the new 9-point guideline on the capital market, the CSRC and relevant departments have issued policy documents in this regard. Could you brief us on how these policies are being implemented? In the government work report, it is proposed that greater efforts will be made to promote the healthy development of the stock market. What considerations does the CSRC have for the next steps? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, and I also want to take the opportunity to thank all of you for the interesting and support for the development of China's capital market. Last year, soon after the two sessions, the State Council issued the guidelines on strengthening regulation, preventing risks, and promoting the high-quality development of the capital market, also known as the new 9-point guideline. Over the past year, with the coordination of the Office of the Central Financial Commission, we have worked with relevant parties to speed up the implementation of the new 9-point guideline. We have also formulated and revised over 50 rules and institutions, which together constitute a 1+M policy framework. These efforts have systemically reshaped the foundational system and the underlying logic of regulation and have brought about positive and profound changes in the capital market. First, on strengthening regulation and investor protection. Following the principle of strict regulation and management, we have strengthened the regulatory system and improved the regulatory performance across the whole process: IPO, information disclosure, corporate governance, merger and acquisition, reorganization, trading, and delisting. We have taken prompt and resolute measures to investigate and punish serious violations that cause concerns in the market and are detested by investors, such as accounting fraud, fraudulent IPO, market manipulation, and insider trading. The General Office of the State Council has also promulgated the opinions on the comprehensive punishment and prevention of accounting fraud in the capital market. So we have worked with the relevant sides to launch a special campaign against the accounting fraud of listed companies and step up the investigation and punishment of typical cases of major consequences. In 2024, we handled 739 cases of various types, confiscated over 73 billion RMB yuan of illegal funds, transferred 178 cases and leads to public security authorities, up by 51% year-on-year. And disciplinary or administrative discipline is only the initial stage of punishment, and laws are violated. Criminal responsibilities will also be charged. We further charge the criminal responsibilities of the responsible persons of Kangde Xin, ST Xinyi, and other violation cases in the securities industry. In the meantime, we have paid close attention to protecting the lawful rights and interests of retail investors in accordance with law. We have pushed for the smooth conclusion of the two cases involving intermediary agencies. The companies are System and Sino-Essence, which are the first two cases after the promulgation of the securities law. We have also steadily advanced the two litigation cases involving the special representatives of Jingtongling and Mutual Ecology and the Landscape, achieving new progress in investor protection. Second, on preventing risks and stabilizing confidence. Last year, the market dynamics were quite complex, posing serious challenges to the stability of the stock market. We have worked with relevant sides to improve the mechanism for ensuring market stability and introduced a series of policy steps. We have improved the regulatory system for automated trading, fully suspended securities lending in accordance with law, improved the northbound information disclosure mechanism, seriously punished illegal shareholding reduction practices, including shareholding reduction through divorce, indirect shareholding reduction, and flash cash out. We have also worked to bring more capital into the market. The registration-based issuance of public mutual funds has visibly picked up speed, and the total scale of ETF funds have surpassed 3 trillion yuan. Market value of A shares held by public mutual funds increased from 5.1 trillion yuan in the beginning of 2024 to the current level of 6.2 trillion yuan, up by 21.6%. We have joined the PBOC in launching monetary policy tools in support of the capital market, and worked with relevant sides to issue the guidelines and the subsequent implementation plans for bringing medium and long-term funds into the market. Through the concerted efforts of all sides, the Asia market, the investor expectation and confidence have notably improved. Third, on promoting high-quality development, since last year to support sci-tech innovation and the development of new quality productive forces, we have issued the 16 guidelines for supporting S&T enterprises, the 8 guidelines on the Starboard, the 6 guidelines on merger and acquisition, and the opinions on the 5 key areas where the capital market could be leveraged to support high-quality development. In the meantime, we have taken raising the investment values of listed companies as an important anchor of our work, and encouraged listed companies to give higher returns to investors, including multiple dividend payouts per year and dividend payout before the Spring Festival. Last year, dividend payout of the whole market reached a historic high of 2.4 trillion yuan, up by 14.6%. More than 300 listed companies initiated dividend payout in the 2 months leading to the Spring Festival, with a total amount of over 340 billion yuan, which is another record in history. Last year, listed companies repurchased nearly 150 billion yuan of shares, also a new high. On the whole, the total amount of dividend payout and share repurchase far exceeds that of IPO refinancing and shareholding reduction. The dividend yield of the CSI 300 index has reached 3.4%. An ecosystem with greater balance between investment and financing is quickly taking shape in the market. The Central Economic Work Conference and the recently held meeting of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee both stressed the importance of stabilizing the real estate and the stock markets. And in the government work report delivered by the Premier yesterday, the goal of stabilizing the real estate and stock market have been included in the opening chapter, which is also a new development. We will resolutely implement these decisions and continuously push forward the implementation of the new 9-point guideline and the 1-point policy framework. We will deepen comprehensive reform of investment and financing in the capital market, and on that basis accelerate the new round of reform and opening up in the capital market and strengthen the foundation for the healthy development of the stock market. First, we will strengthen the inclusiveness and the multi-tiered market system. We will deepen reform of the Starboard, the growth enterprise market, and the Beijing Stock Exchange, improve differentiated arrangements involving IPO, information disclosure, and the sector structure, and promote the concentration of market resources in new industries, new business forms, and new technology fields. Second, we will further improve the coordination of investment and financing. We will strengthen the coordinated development and counter-cyclical adjustment mechanisms for the primary and secondary markets. Further, improve the governance of listed companies, explore more concrete and effective measures to protect the lawful rights and interests of investors, and promote the effective check and balance between retail investors and the key minority investors, such as major shareholders and actual controllers of listed companies. We will encourage listed companies to enhance their awareness and ability of paying back to investors. We will also remove the bottlenecks and choke points that prevent social security, insurance, wealth management, and other funds and other medium and long-term funds from entering the market, and bring more fresh water into the capital pool. Third, we will strengthen the effectiveness of regulatory law enforcement. On the one hand, we will seriously punish violations in accordance with the law, push for the introduction of judicial interpretation of breach of trust crime and regulatory rules for listed companies, speed up the revision of regulatory rules of securities companies, deepen interagency coordination and coordination between central and local governments, and exercise effective joint penalties in accordance with law. On the other hand, we will strictly guard against violations based on responsibilities, strengthen the long-term mechanism for preventing accounting fraud, improve the whistleblower system, further ensure the gatekeeper responsibilities of intermediary agencies, further strengthen technology-empowered regulation and reinforce management at the source. Fourth, we will further strengthen the adaptability of the foundational market system. We will respect the laws of the market and respect rules, optimize the mechanisms for market pricing, evaluate and improve the mechanism for transaction settlement, and create a more equitable, efficient, attractive, and predictable institutional environment for all market participants. We will also steadily expand high-standard institutional opening up, improve the record filing system for overseas IPO, and steadily expand cross-border connectivity to better promote reform and development through opening up. Thank you.
谢谢，请大家继续提问。请南区第2排第3位女士，谢谢。
谢谢。光明日报记者提问，我的问题是给蓝部长的。去年6万亿元债务置换政策推出后，国内外都很关注，想请您谈一谈政策实施的效果，以及下一步还有何考虑。
Guangming Daily, my question is for Minister Lan. The 6 trillion yuan debt replacement policy has drawn much attention from both China and other countries. Could you please brief us on the effects of the policy and what are the considerations for the next steps? Thank you.
关心的问题也正是我们
The issue I've raised is also a priority in our
按照
work.
党中央的部署啊
Under the instruction of the Party Central Committee,
去年4季度
the NPC Standing
一
Committee
次性
approved
增加了6万亿的
the last quarter of 2024 a 6 trillion yuan increase in local government debt quota to be allocated over 3 years at 2 trillion yuan annually, aiming to replace existing implicit debt and support local risk mitigation.
通过整体设计
Through the policy design and institutional
在主动
reconstruction,
化解债务风险的同
this
时
policy proactively resolves risks while supporting
腾出更多的
local
资
government
金
to
资
free up
源
more funds and
为高质量
resources
发展
to
蓄
support
势赋能。
high quality development.
总的看来，我们用一项政策
With this single policy, we have
办成了3件大事。
accomplished at least 3 major
第
things.
一，
First,
化债压力大大减
the
轻，
pressure of
地方
debt
政府债务
was
风险
significantly alleviated
有
and the
效缓
risks
释。
mitigated.
置换政策出台以后啊，
After the policy was
各地
introduced,
抓紧
local
布置，
governments quickly
迅速
carried out
落实。
implementation.
一是隐性
First,
债务显
implicit
性化，
debts were exposed
债务管理更加规
and
范
the debt
透明。
management was
截止
more
今年的
standardized
3月
and
5号
transparent. As of March
地方
5th,
共发行
2025,
置换债券
local governments had
2.96
issued
万亿元。
2.96 trillion yuan of bonds for debt replacement.
去年
Second,
发行
high
的2
interest
万
rate
亿元
debt
置
was
换债
replaced
券
by low
利
interest
率
rate debt.
水平
The
下降，
2 trillion yuan replacement
超
bond
过
in
2.5
2024
万亿。
achieved significant interest rate
部分地
reduction
区
by
下降更为明
2.5
显。
percentage points, with some places
预计
experiencing
这一部分
steeper
置换债券
decline. And these
5年利
reductions
息
are projected to
减少
save
2000亿元以上，
over 200 billion
极
yuan
大
of
减
interest
轻
rate
了地方
payment
资金
in
的
a
压力
5-year
和
period,
利息支出。
which significantly
37
alleviated their
分
pressure
轻
for
重缓急，
interest rate
优
payment.
先化解到
Third,
期时间临近，
Priority was given
引
to
犯比较突
urgent
出的
and
隐性
high
债务
risk hidden debts
牢牢守住安全的防
so
线。
as to ensure financial security.
第二，财政空间得到释放，
Second, the
经
space
济
for
发展
fiscal
动能
policy and
明显
drivers
增强。
for economic growth were further
在地方
strengthened.
财政收支平衡压力比较大的情况下，
Given the challenges in balancing payment in
通
local
过实
governments,
施置换政策，
through the debt replacement
一是
program,
打通了经济循
we
环的
have
堵点，
removed
各地
bottlenecks
畅通了
in
资金
the
链条，
economic circulations.
带动引导社会
Local
资本
governments have
金融事业
improved capital flows, allowing
科
more
技
solid
型
support
企业
to
中
sci-tech
小微企业
companies
等经营
and
主体
small and
得到了
medium-sized
有力的
enterprises
支持。
with capitals and
二是
financial
更好地
resources.
保障了
And on top of this, priorities in livelihood projects were better supported. Making full use of this policy, the local governments have freed up more resources to support bottom lines, including the 3 guarantees, as well as compulsory education, basic elderly care, basic health care, and subsistence allowance systems, etc. And finally, it helped to support high-quality development as local governments now have more resources to support sci-tech innovation and consumption. And the spending in these areas are increasing faster than the year before. Third, significant progress was made in financing platforms reform, and the optimization of financial environment continued. The debt replacement policy has effectively driven the exit of financing platforms. In the last quarter of last year, after the introduction of the debt replacement policy, 4,680 financing platforms were closed, accounting for more than 2/3 of the whole year. In the meantime, through driving the optimization of financial institutions' asset quality and enhancing their willingness to allocate credits, we can better serve the development of the real economy. Like what you have said, the implementation of the policy continues, it was widely welcomed by local governments and received positive feedbacks from major rating agencies and international organizations, as well as experts and scholars, proving that it is a wide choice from the party central committee. The replacement policy has achieved a very good start, with policy effect being unleashed continuously. In the future, we will continue to focus on the implementation and strive for greater performance of the policy. In the future, our work will focus on the following 3 aspects. First, accelerate implementation of this policy. We will guide local governments to use the 2 trillion yuan quota of this year as soon as possible to replace hidden debts in a great, precise manner, carried out whole process and whole chain supervision of the replacement fund so as to strive for early results of the policy. Second, continue to promote reform of financing platforms. We will divest local platforms of their government financing functions, implement classified market-oriented transformation based on actual conditions, and strictly prevent SOEs and public institutions from continuing borrowing under new disguises. And thirdly, we will resolutely prevent newly added hidden debts. We will further optimize our monitoring system with a focus on preventing illegal borrowing, uphold the principle of not adding hidden debts, and resolutely resolve existing debts while preventing new ones from arising. Thank you very much.
谢谢，请大家继续提问。请中区靠后第4排这位多次举手的男士，第2位，对，第4排第2位，好，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。人民日报、人民网记者提问，我的问题是提给郑主任。去年以来，心智生产力成为经济工作的高频词 ，AI 大模型、人形机器人、国产原创药等不断涌现，在国内应用如火如荼，在国际上也引起了很大的轰动。请问，我国心智生产力发展取得了哪些成果？国家在培育心智生产力方面还将有哪些重要举措？谢谢。
People's Daily. My question is for Chairman Zhang. Since last year, new quality productive forces has become a keyword in economic work. New breakthroughs such as large AI models, humanoid robots, and homemade innovative drugs have emerged one after another. In addition to being widely applied in China, they have also created a significant impact worldwide. My question is, what has China achieved in developing new quality productive forces, and what more important measures will the government take to foster new quality productive forces? Thank you.
谢谢您的提问。
Thank you for your
您
question.
刚才说的这些情况呢，跟我们的
The
感受是
information
一样。
you have shared
过去1年，
or
应
the
该
feeling
说
you
我
have
们
shared,
国
we
家的这
have
个
the same
科技的
feeling with
创
you.
新啊，亮点很多。
Over the past year, we
就像
have saw
扑
many
面而来的，
highlights
我们
in
讲扑面而
sci-tech
来的这种
innovation.
科技感和
We
未
got
来
these
感，
immersive waves
这个给
of
大家带
cutting-edge
来了很
innovation.
多的惊喜。
These has delivered countless surprises to all of us, which has attracted wide attention from home and abroad. It is fair to say that new quality productive forces are reshaping our work and life. I have 3 deep impressions to share with all of you. First is faster breakthroughs. You have already mentioned that the much popular integrated circuit, both at the production and export, have set a new record high. More and more products are now equipped with Chinese chip. AI large language models have shown heated race with dark horses emerging everywhere. The application of industrial robots has also been promoted. Humanoid robot is also fast approaching commercial application, and a batch of internationally competitive homemade drugs are also emerging. There are more examples to come, and we have more cases ready at hand to share with you. And we got this feeling that many of the scenarios painted in sci-fi movies of the past are now turning into realities. China is now making proud strides at the very forefront of the sci-tech innovation of the world. This, from different perspectives, some forces in the international community are trying to contain China, but these kind of efforts will only propel China's effort in terms of scientific innovation. Second is on faster industrial upgrading. Last year, the added value of China's high-tech manufacturing and equipment manufacturing accounted for 16.3% and 34.6% respectively. And the export volume of electronics, including cell phones and PCs, personal computers, accounted for approximately 60%. And the new energy vehicles industries, after 10 years of investment, have already formed a complete industrial systems. These are all testament to the one fact that our industrial chain is moving towards mid and high end. Third is faster growing drivers. Recently, phenomenal innovative products are emerging continuously. And the result of scientific research are transforming from papers into products, and more enterprises are now spending more on sci-tech innovation, creating stronger internal impetus for innovation. Like over the past more than a year, we have witnessed more and more dark horses emerged on the horizon and quickly turn into backbones of our innovation. Developing new quality productive forces is a long-term task and systematic project. We are going to focus on the following 3 aspects, including capital, talent, and ecosystem. First is on investment. We're going to spend more on sci-tech innovation. Just now, when I'm talking about macroeconomic performances, I have already mentioned that we will build the National Venture Capital Guiding Fund, which will mobilize local and private capital of around 1 trillion yuan. And this policy is to give priority on hardcore technology with long-term commitment, as well as high tolerance for failure, and to give this money to innovative-driven businesses in a market-based manner. At the same time, we are also going to refine policy on merger and acquisition, and share transfer policy, and encourage development of merger and acquisition funds. We will unclog the exit channels of venture capitals and to attract more capitals to join venture investment. Second is on talent. We'll continue to cultivate high-quality talent pool. We're going to strengthen cultivation of outstanding talents in much-needed area. We're going to bring up a large number of strategic scientists, outstanding entrepreneurs, outstanding engineers, craftsmen, and high-skilled talents through practices. The third is on ecosystem. We're going to build an open, inclusive innovation system ecosystem. We're going to put forward policy to support the development of new quality productive forces and to fine-tune our institutional underpinnings of supporting comprehensive innovation. And we're going to refine inclusive and prudent supervision to create an ecosystem full of vitality for innovation. Thank you.
请北区第3排这位女士，第2位，谢谢。
Thank you. From CNBC. My question is for PBOC Governor Pan Gongsheng. Recently, as we've been talking about, many Chinese companies have made some new technological innovations. What are the plans for financial measures to ensure the sustainable development of these new tech? Thank you.
美国消费者新闻与商业频道，我的问题提给潘功胜行长。近一段时间，中国一些科技企业在科技创新方面取得了很多新的进展。2025年，金融支持科技创新方面还将有哪些举措？谢谢。
好，谢谢。
Thank you for your question.
中国的科技创新活动呢富有活力。
Sci-tech innovation is vibrant in China,
所说的，
as you
国内
mentioned,
外的投资者呢也高度的
and
关
this
注。
vitality has
做好金
attracted
融
huge
支持
interest
科
of
技创
domestic
新工作，
international investors.
是落
Providing
实
sound
创新
financial
出动发
support
展
for
战
sci-tech innovation
和
is a
金
key
融
task
服
in
务实体
implementing
经
the
济的
innovation-driven
重要
development
着力点，
strategy and ensuring
也
financial
是深
service
化
for the
金
real
融供给
economy.
侧结构性改
It
革
is
的重
also
要
an
性。
important component of the
近年来，
financial
人民
supply
银行
side
会同
structure
有关部
reform.
门
In
综合
recent
运
years,
用
together
股
with
船、
relevant
债
ministries,
船
the、
保
PBOC
险等
has
工具，加大金融对
employed
科
tools
技
such
创
as
新的支
equity,
持，
bond, and
已经呢
insurance
做了
to
大量的工作。
strengthen financial support for
科技
sci-tech
创新活
innovation.
动复杂多元，
Sci-tech innovation
处于不
activities
同
are
生
highly
命周期
diverse.
的科技创新期，
Tech
我们
firms
一般
at
会
different
出分的种
phases
子
of
期
the
啊、
life
初创期
cycle,
成长期
namely
或者
seed
成熟
phase,
成熟
startup
期。
phase,
它
growth
的这个
phase,
风险
and
的特
mature
征
phase
和金融的输出
have
呢有
immensely
很大的
different
差异。
risks and financial needs.
从供给侧而言，金
From
融
the
服务供
supply
给的适配性需要进一步
We
的
need to
提升。
further
培育
align the
支持
supply
科技
of
创新的金融市
financial
场生态
services to their
需要
needs
金融政
and
策、
to
科技
cultivate
政
a
策、
financial market
产业
that
政策的
supports
协同
sci-tech
配合，
innovation requires
需要
coordination
金融
of
管理部
financial,
门、
sci-tech, and
科技
industrial
部门、
policies,
金融机
and
构、
it
科技
requires
企业的
collaboration
协同
between the
互动，
financial
久
regulatory
久为功，
departments, the
坚持
science
不
and
懈。
technology departments, the
近
financial
期呢，为进一
institutions,
步加
and
大
tech
对科技
firms,
创新的金
and
融支持
requires relentless
人民银
efforts.
行将会同
Recently,
证
in
监
order
会、
to further
科技部
strengthen
等部
financial
门
support for
创
scientific
新推
innovation,
出
the
债
PBOC
券市
will
场
work
的
with
科技
the
版。
CSRC
同
and
时，
Ministry
我
of
们将
Science
优
and
化科技
Technology
创新和技
to
术改造再贷款
introduce
政策。
launch
这里呢，
science
我
and
简要
technology
介绍
board
一下
of
这
the
两项
bond market
政
at
策
the
工
same
作
time,
的
and
重点
we
内
will
容。
improve the relending
第一项，
program for
创新推出债
sci-tech
券市场
innovation
的科
and
技版，
technological transformation.
支持
Let
金
me
融机
briefly
构、
share with
科
some
技型
details.
企业、
First,
私募股权投资
the
机构
science and
等
technology
三类主
bond,
体
we will support
发
financial
行科技
institutions,
创
tech
新
firms,
债
and
券，
private equity
丰富
investors.
科技
These
创
three
新
types
债
of
券的产
entities to
品体
issue sci-tech innovation
一
bonds
是支
to
持商业
enrich
银
the
行、
variety
证
of
券公
bond
司、金
products
融资
for
产投资
sci-tech
公司
innovation.
等金融机构
First, we will
发
support
行科技
commercial
创
bank
新债券，
securities
拓
companies,
宽科技
financial
贷
assets
款、
investor
债券
firms
投资、
to
股
issue
权投资的
sci-tech
资金来
innovation
源。
bonds to create new sources of
二
funds
是
for
支持
sci-tech
成
driven
长
loans,
期、成
bond
熟期
investment,
的
and
科技
equity
型企业
investment.
发
Second,
行
we
中
will
长期
support
债
tech firms at
用于
growth
加大
and
科技
mature
创新领域
phases
的
to
研发
issue
投
medium
入、
to long
项
term
目建
bonds
设、
to
并
raise
购
funds
重
for
组。
R&D investment projects,
三是
merger
支持科
acquisition,
技
and
经验丰富
restructuring.
的头部私募股
Third,
权
we
投
will
资机构
support
创
leading
业投
PE
资
and
机构
startup
等发行
investment
长期限的
institutions with
科
rich
技创新
experience
债券，
to issue
带
long-term
动更多
sci-tech
的资
innovation
金
bonds
筹
to
早、
mobilize
投
more
小、
funds to
中长
invest
期
in early
投
stages
5
in
国际。
small firms, in long-term projects,
同时
and
呢，
in
债券市场的科技
hardcore
版会
science and
根据科技
technology.
创新企
At
业
the
的需
same
求
time, the
和
Science and
股权
Technology
基
Board
金
will take
投
into
资回
account
报的
needs
特
of
点，
tech firms
完
and
善科
features
技
of
创新
returns of
债券发
equity
行交易
funds.
的制度安排。
to improve
创新
institutional
风险
arrangements for
分担机
issuance
制
and，
降低
transactions,
发行成本，
adopt an
引
innovative
导债
approach
券
to
基
risk
金更
sharing,
加高效、
reduce
便
the
捷、低成
cost
本
of
投向
foundations, and
科技
guide
创新
the bond funding to
第二项工具
support sci-tech
是优
innovation
化
in a
科技
more
创新和
efficient,
技术改造再
convenient,
贷
and
款
low-cost
政策。
way.
那
Second,
么我们
are
准备了对这项
improving the
这个政策
relenting
现在就有。
policy.
那么我们准备对这项政策公布的要素做进一步优化，主要有这么几个方面。进一步扩大再贷款的规模。
We will further expand the scale of this related program from the current 500 billion yuan to 800 billion to 1 trillion yuan to better meet the financing needs of enterprises. And second, we will reduce the relending, the interest rate of relending program between PBOC to commercial banks to strengthen policy incentives to banks. We will expand the coverage of this relending program. And we will also work with the finance ministry to keep the intensity of fiscal interest discount to lower the financing cost for enterprises. We will also improve the policy procedures for related application so that it can be delivered at a higher efficiency and provide more facility. These specific measures will help stimulate the vitality of scientific innovation and market and mobilize more social investment, including private and government funds, to invest in scientific innovation. Going forward, we will strengthen communication with relevant ministries to improve policy systems in support of scientific innovation and cultivate a financial market that is supportive of such innovation, and continuously enhance the capacity, intensity, and quality of financial support for scientific innovation. In conclusion, I want to say that we welcome international investors to invest in Chinese tech firms, and we are against politicization of normal market actions, and we are against unjustified barriers. Thank you.
第三排，第三位女士，谢谢。
深圳卫视直新闻记者提问，想请问王文涛部长，去年外部压力加大，内部困难增多，但中国外贸交出了一份亮眼的成绩单，对经济增长的贡献加大。政府工作报告对稳外贸做了部署。请问如何看待今年外贸发展面临的形势？商务部在稳外贸方面有什么考虑和具体的举措？谢谢。
Shenzhen TV, my question is for Minister Wang. Last year, despite growing external pressure and internal difficulties, China's foreign trade delivered a remarkable performance and made greater contributions to economic growth. The government work report lays out plans on stabilizing foreign trade. How do you view the development of foreign trade this year? What considerations and specific measures does the Ministry of Commerce have in terms of stabilizing foreign trade? Thank you.
好，这个谢谢你的提问啊，这个我将
Thank you for your question.
两个方面啊，你的问题两个方面就是怎么看，怎么办啊，来回答你的问题。首先是怎么看。 在以习近平同志为核心的党中央的坚强领导下，经过各方共同努力，我国去年的外贸表现是有目共睹。政府工作报告指出，外贸出口对经济增长贡献增大。春节来之不易，我想用3个更加来贡献。 一是大国的地位更加巩固。去年呢，我们货物进出口同比增长是5%，
China's status as a major trading nation is more solid. In 2024, total trading goods increased by 5%, amounting to 43 trillion yuan. And export is expected to account for around 14.7% in the international market, securing China's position as the largest trader in goods for the 8th consecutive year. On trading services, the total volume reached 7.5 trillion yuan, up by 14.4%, which is about 10 percentage points faster than trading goods. On US dollar terms, trade has crossed the $1 trillion mark for the first time. This shows the changing structure of China's foreign trade. Second, more diverse trading partners. China is now a major trading partner for over 140 countries and regions. Among them, the share of Belt and Road participating countries in China's total foreign trade has surpassed 50% for the first time last year. I think that is also a landmark achievement that shows diversification of China's trade strategy. So we are not putting all the eggs in one basket. There will always be a part of the world where we can develop grow our trade with, and that also demonstrates the strong resilience of China's foreign trade. We have signed 23 FTA agreements with 30 countries and regions, and the share of foreign trade with FTA partners has increased to 34%. Third, more dynamic driving force for development on trading goods, from small home appliances like coffee machines and vacuum cleaners to big mechanical products like EVs and industrial robots. Chinese products are now featuring more high-tech elements and are gaining wide recognition in the world. Cross-border e-commerce has been growing at double digits for several years in a row, providing more product choices and a convenient shopping experience for global consumers. On trading services, as my colleague said, China's technological advances, including AI, quantum technology, and cloud computing, are creating new paradigms for service trade. Let me give you a popular example, DeepSeek. With its low-cost, high-performance open-source model, DeepSeek has lowered the threshold for global technology use. And Black Myth Wukong is another example. Ne Zha 2, the film. And the charm of these products have paved the advance of technology has paved the way for Chinese games and films to explore the global market. While at present, the negative impact of external environment is deepening. Unilateralism and protectionism are on the rise. Certain countries waving the stick of terrorists, disrupting the order of international trade, and bringing shock to the global production and supply chains. China's foreign trade is confronted with serious challenges. In light of the situation, the Party Central Committee has laid out plans, and the government work report has also established clear pathways. So answer the second part of your question, what are we going to do? Going forward, we will make utmost efforts to stabilize foreign trade by stepping up policy implementation, expanding trade increment, and supporting companies. First, on stepping up policy implementation, we have adopted a series of policies to promote the stable growth in foreign trade. Various localities and departments are already in action. Some have issued rules of implementation, and some have formulated matching initiatives. We will work with them to implement these policies to good effect. In the meantime, we will step up policy efforts to stabilize foreign trade. And in light of the changing situation, we will address pressing issues in tandem with our efforts to promote high-quality trade. And we will expeditiously to explore and reserve new supportive policies, which will be rolled out when necessary to support companies in securing orders and exploring markets. Second, on expanding trade increment, we will push for the building of a new group of cross-border e-commerce comprehensive pilot zones, speed up the application of digital technologies in trade, vigorously expand green trade, and provide better public services. On trading services, there is still great space for development. In terms of scale, trading services still account for a mere 14.6% in China's foreign trade. Structure-wise, China's service trade remains largely underpinned by traditional services, while knowledge-intensive services account for only 38.5%, with a significant gap compared to developed countries. To expand foreign trade increment, boosting service trade through innovation should be an important part of our efforts. Our work in this area also has two priorities. One is promoting opening up and building platforms. Last year, we issued a negative list of cross-border service trade, both the nationwide edition and the one for pilot-free trade zones. This is a milestone in the opening of China's service sector. We will fully implement these two negative lists and steadily promote tiered opening up. We will also launch the building of the national demonstration zones on the innovation-driven development of trading services, and cultivate a number of demonstration platforms on the comprehensive reform and opening up of trading services to provide a replicable experience for nationwide implementation. The other priority is promoting integration and ensuring real effect. We will step up efforts in inbound tourism, digital services, professional services, and bonded area plus services, promote integrated development trading goods materials, trading services, and digital trade, and cultivate new growth areas and new drivers of foreign trade. Third, on supporting companies to address the difficulties and challenges confronting foreign trade companies, we will further expand the scale and the coverage of export credit insurance and increase the support of financial institutions, services for them. We will continue to leverage the platforms of major exhibitions, including CIE, the China Import and Export Fair, the China International Fair for Trading Services, and the Global Digital Trade Expo, and support the participation of companies in exhibitions both home and abroad to expand the channels of trade and find more trade opportunities and partners. We are ready to negotiate and sign FTA agreements with more interested countries and regions, further expand the cooperation frameworks for trading services and digital trade, raise the level of trade liberalization and facilitation. Recently, my colleagues and I have met with many representatives of foreign businesses. They told me that the situation is rapidly changing, and they're also confronted with some difficulties. But they also told me that over the years, China's foreign trade has weathered winds and storms, gained experience by embracing the world, and proved its resilience against all odds. And they are confident that whatever the problems, solutions can always be found. We're also convinced that economic globalization is irreversible, and global trade cooperation is an unstoppable process. We are confident and well-grounded in our ability to maintain stability for foreign trade and make new strides in building a strong trading nation. Thank you.
请北区第4排第4位浅市商业的女士，谢谢。
好，谢谢主持人。科技日报记者提问，我的问题是提给吴清主席的。吴主席您好，今年以来，以 DeepSeek 为代表的科技企业受到市场广泛关注，不少国际投资机构认为 DeepSeek 热将推动中国科技企业的价值重估，请问您怎么看待这一现象？也想问一下，资本市场要如何发挥自身优势，支持科技创新，更好地引领新质生产力的发展？谢谢。
Science and Technology Daily. My question is for Chairman Wu Qing. Since the beginning of this year, technology companies represented by DeepSeek have attracted wide attention from the market. Many international investment institutions believe that this enthusiasm for DeepSeek may lead to a revaluation of Chinese tech firms. What is your opinion on this? And how can the capital market make better use of its strength to support technological innovation and drive the development of new quality productive forces? Thank you.
非常感谢您的问题啊！我发现
Thank you very much for your question.
科技的含量越来越高了。
I can see that the technology content in the meeting, in this press conference is increasing. And our conference on the theme of economy is turning into a conference on the theme of science and technology. Indeed, the new quality productive forces has played a more important role in economic development. And AI is now a buzzword not just in the 2 sessions, but also in the whole world. And you will feel out of step with the times if you do not know about and talk about AI. And it is also a topic that the capital market is very following closely. The rise of DeepSeek in the global AI field has been mind-blowing for the AI industry. It has provided the world and the financial sector with a new perspective on China's technology innovation capability, and to some extent prompted a revaluation of Chinese assets. As we can see after the Spring Festival, there has been strong performance of A shares, strong performance of SciTech stock in the A shares and the Hong Kong market. It is also partly driven by DeepSeek and related developments. The capital market plays a unique and important role in supporting SciTech innovation, while the increase in the number of SciTech innovative companies also helps boost the vitality and appeal of the capital market and its ability to create values for investors. CSRC has all along attached high importance to supporting sci-tech innovation. In recent years, we have seized the opportunities of the reforms of the Starboard and the growth enterprise market to push for innovations in key systems and raise the technology content of the capital market. Last year, sci-tech companies accounted for over 90% of all newly listed companies in Starboard, the growth enterprise market, and the Beijing Stock Exchange. Currently, the market cap of listed companies in strategic emerging industries already accounts for over 40% of the whole Chinese stock market. In key sectors such as new energy, high-end manufacturing, new generation information technologies, and biomedicine, a group of leading enterprises have emerged, and the quality and efficiency of the services provided by the capital market for sci-tech innovation have also notably improved. At the recent seminar with private enterprises, General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed the importance of promoting indigenous innovation and shifting the growth model. The government work report also made plans for promoting integrated development of technological and industrial innovations. We will faithfully implement these decisions, make good and full use of existing mechanisms, actively study and improve the mechanisms, institutions, as well as product and service systems in support of new quality productive forces, and contribute to the advance of Chinese modernization with better services. Just now, all my colleagues talk about the importance of sci-tech innovation in advancing Chinese modernization. But as far as the capital market is concerned, first we will act expeditiously to strengthen the mechanisms that are specially launched for supporting sci-tech companies. We will ensure both efficient market and well-functioning government, focus on supporting sectors with vibrant sci-tech activities and key elements of new quality productive forces, make good use of green IPO channel, IPO for unprofitable companies and other systems, prudently implement the 5th edition of the IPO standards for the Starboard, and provide more tailored support for the IPO of high-quality sci-tech companies. We will also speed up efforts to improve the supporting mechanisms for the 6 guidelines on merger and acquisition, remove the bottlenecks in valuation and pricing, review and approval process, and payment instruments, vigorously promote corporate merger and acquisition, to improve resource allocation and support the development of companies, and enable the successful conclusion of typical and demonstrative merger and acquisition cases of sci-tech innovative companies. Second, we will vigorously cultivate long-term capital and patient capital. And as Chairman Zheng said, the central government is introducing some substantial policy initiatives to support the relevant efforts. Globally, the rise of many pioneering sci-tech companies is attributed to the founding of long-term and patient capital. Only by enduring the solitude of a decade-long grind can one achieve the brilliance of a stunning breakthrough. We will further encourage private fund investors and managers to follow a long-term approach and provide more long-term support and value-added services to help sci-tech companies focus on their main business, dedicate themselves to scientific research, pursue innovation, and build the foundation for a sustainable business. We will also improve the regulatory rules and the mechanisms for private and venture capital funds, and open up more market exit channels by optimizing the reverse link-up policy and advancing the pilot program for physical distribution of shares to investors, improving the transfer system for fund shares, and supporting the development of secondary market funds for private equity or the S funds, and also the M&A funds.
退出渠道，退出也不一定都是上市，当然我们在上市上保持它的包容性，不一定都是发行上市。
We will continue to follow an inclusive approach with regard to IPO, but IPO is not the only pathway for market entry and exit. We will work with relevant sides to improve the error tolerance in performance evaluation and other mechanisms, support the expansion of funding sources through multiple channels, and promote the healthy cycle of fundraising, investment management, and exit. Third, we will increase the supply of financial products and services in support of sci-tech innovation.
从资本市场来看呢，这个资本市场支持科技企业呢，也不只是由
Covenant
上市
plan
一条
from
路，也不只
PBOC
是
talk
股
about
票
bonds,
啊一
but
种
as
工具，
far as the capital
债券
market
啊
is
和
concerned,
软
we also
债
have quite a number
优
of
先股啊
instruments.
资产
An
证券
IPO
化
is not the only
期
way
权
for
啊
capital
期
market to
货等
support
等
sci-tech companies,
这样一些
and a
产品和
stock
工
is
具
not the
也
only
都可以
instrument either.
有所作为，
Many other products and
也能
instruments
够
such as
提供
bonds,
接
convertible
力棒
bonds,
式的
preferred
这种
stock,
融资
equity, and
支持和
futures
服
can
务。
also play a big part. Together, they
比如
can
科技
provide
创新公
companies
司
with a
在
steady stream
累
of
计发
financing
行的规模
support
就
and
达到了
services,
1.2万
like
亿， 这也是
passing
一
the
个不小
baton
的
in a relay race. For instance, the
我们还
bonds
将
issued
持
by
续地打好
sci-tech
支持科技
companies
创新的
have
组
now
合拳，
reached the level of
进一步完
1.2
善
trillion
科创
yuan,
债
which is
发
not a
行注
small
册的
figure.
流
We'll
程，
continue to take
稳步发
coordinated
展
steps
知识产
to
权、
support
资产证
sci-tech
券化，
innovation, further improve
为
the
科技
registration
创新
process
来
for
提
issuing
供
sci-tech
更加
innovation
全
bonds,
面、
steadily
更加
promote
高
the
效的资
securitization
本
of
市场的服务。
IPR assets and provide more comprehensive
科
and
技创新也
efficient
是探
capital
索未
market
知的过程，
services for
既孕
sci-tech
育着
innovation.
新的
Sci-tech
动
innovation
能，
is a
也
process
伴随着
of
风险。
exploring the unknown.
汤长
While
刚才特别
generating
强
new
调，不同
drivers,
的
it
领域
also
不同
brings
的
with
生命
it
周期啊，
brings with
它
it
也
new
都是
risks.
需要不
So
同
in
的
different
支持。
sectors, in different
同时呢，我们必须得看到，就是科技企业
aspects of the
往
life
往是
cycle,
经
it
营
may
业
face
绩不确
different
定性比
risks.
较大，
Sci-tech companies often have
转盈利的周
uncertain
期也比
business
较长。
performances and a long waiting
成功
period
的
for
有可能是爆发式
profitability.
增长，甚至于
Once
指数级的
successful,
增
they
长。
may undergo
失败的
explosive or
那也可能
exponential
要付
growth,
出
but
巨
if
大代价，
failed,
甚至于
they may
血
also
本
pay
无
a
归。
huge price and
这
even go
是
bankrupt.
一些市场规律、创新规律啊。
This is the
决
laws
定
of the market
我们也
and
是希
also
望
the
市场
laws
各
of
方呢也能
innovation.
够
So we
全
do
面、
hope
客
that the
观、
market
冷
will
静
view
地
the risks
看待科技
in
企
the
业
growth
成
of
长当
sci-tech
中的风
companies
险
in，a comprehensive,
通过一些科学
objective
的
and
方法和
coordinated
工具
manner and adopt
来
proper
更有
methods
效
and
地
tools
管理风险，
to
来获得收益。
manage risks and
对于
gain
未盈
profits.
利企业的上市等等
We
这样一
should
些情
also
况，
give more
也希
understanding
望
and
各方
tolerance
面能
to
够
the listing
给
of
予
unprofitable
更多的包
companies
容理解，来一起
and
为
work
新质生
together
产
to
力的发
foster
展来营
a
造
more healthy
更
and a
加健
sound
康
market
良好的市
environment
场环
for the
境。
development
郑主任刚才特
of
别
new
提到
quality
的
productive
这个
forces
市场生态创新的生态
and the
非常
innovation
重要。
in the market ecosystem is a very
这个包
important
容
part
性
of the efforts.
理解性，这
Chairman
也是
Chen
特
also
别的
talked
重
about
要。
this, and
我就跟大
understanding
家
and tolerance are also
这个
important.
跟这位记者回答到这儿，感谢。
So this is my response
谢谢。
to the question. Thank
请
you.
大家继续提问。请南区第一排这位多次举手的女士，对，第4位。第一排，是的。
谢谢。浙江日报潮新闻提问，我想问个民生的问题，想提给郑山杰主任。我们关注到今年两会期间，代表委员们就民生这个领域提了不少新的期待，群众讨论最多的也是民生这个话题。所以想请问国家发改委，在今年的工作中，就这项领域会有什么针对性的举措？谢谢。
Zhejiang Daily. My question is for Chairman Zheng. During this year's two sessions, NPC deputies and CPPCC members have brought forward many new expectations regarding people's well-being. This is also the most discussed topic among the public. So my question is, what targeted measures will the NDRC take this year? Thank you.
谢谢。
Thank you.
习近平总书记在今年的新年贺
In
词
his
里面
New
专
Year's
门讲
message,
到
General，Secretary Xi
就是
Jinping
家
said
事国
that
事天下事，
of all the jobs in
让
front of
人
us,
民过
the
上
most
幸福的生
important
活
is
是头等
to
大事。
ensure a happy life
高
for
质量发
our
展归
people.
根到底呢，
On high
也
quality
是
development, at the
让
end
老
of the
百
day,
姓
is
过
to
上好
give
日子，
better lives to
并
our
且呢
people，
让这日子越过越好。
and to make
过去的一
and
年，
to
我们
continue to
的
inject
增
betterment
量
to
政
their
策、
people, to
存
our
量
people's
政策
livelihood.
都
In the
优
past
先
year, our
支
incremental
持
policy and
民生这个
incremental
头等的大事。
capitals or give priority to
去年
projects
我
related to the
们
well-being of the people.
这个做了很多这方面的
Over the past
这
year,
些
we have
工作。
done many
那么
projects
今
in this
年我们
regard.
也将持
In
续
2025, we
紧
will
盯
keep
大家最
a
关
close
心
eye eye on issues that matter the most to the people, and make active efforts to solve the most pressing difficulties concerns our people, and treat these problems as the priorities of our work. And we're going to set to transfer the policy into actual benefits for our people. In short, it can be divided into 4 different aspects. First is to solve pressing issues. For example, on elderly and child care, because every household has senior members or kids to take care of. And in response to high work pressures, fast-paced lifestyle, and the need for elderly and child care, it is much needed to enjoy community-based caring services. This year, we are going to work with relevant departments to focus on reducing costs, alleviating burdens, and optimizing services with a target on strengthening community-based caring services. We are going to use publicly built and private-run methods to provide more low-cost facilities to support specialized agencies to provide quality services. Just now, my colleagues has mentioned some opening up measures taken in the service sectors. We are also going to promote age-friendly renovation, including elevators and barrier-free facilities. We will also work to bring more diversified services into communities, including housekeeping, meal assistance, and disabled assistance, so that we can inject more love and care into the communities. Second is to work on difficult issues for the people. For example, on healthcare. Some of the hospitals at the primary level are short of talents and equipment. And for medical attention, people sometimes have to travel to major cities and major hospitals. This year, we are going to carry out grassroots healthcare capacity building program and provide much needed equipment to primary level hospitals, including at county level and the village level, where with the concentration of population. And we also improve the mechanism of redirecting talents to grassroots levels. And we will strive to achieve the goal of common illness are treated within the city, and daily healthcare needs are met at grassroots level. And we also promote a balanced, high-quality medical relocation and expansion. In recent years, we are promoting the implementation of the project on national regional healthcare centers. We will work to complete at an early date the already planned 125 regional medical centers. And through having the expert on-site or remote consulting services, we will provide opportunities to more people and with their access of high-quality medical services. Third is to work on the concerns of the people. For example, quality education is always on people's mind. In the years to come, we will adapt to the fluctuations in the school-age population and expand the supply of high-quality education services by balancing the teachers. We will include more schools into group-based schoolings and trusteeship assistance. We're going to build tens of thousands of compulsory education, new quality schools, and build thousands of quality high schools. In the meantime, we will continue to improve higher education. That is to say, we will promote the expansion of high-quality undergrad schools, meaning that we will expand undergrad enrollment of the double first-rate universities. On this, last year we have expanded the scale to include 60,000 students. And this year we will work to include 20,000 more. In a word, we will strive to let more kids to receive a fair education with better quality. Fourth is to work on the much anticipated issues of the people. For example, in China, we have a huge population of migrant workers. Their top priority is to enjoy basic public services at the place where they live, including education, housing care, and as well as social security. This population is rather big, and it is a realistic concern for them. This year, we are going to coordinate all channels of our resources, give more support to the regions with more labor influence, and will draft city-based implementation plans and strive to transform these migrant workers into new citizens of the urban population and enjoy equal basic public services like registered populations. In a word, the concerns list of the people are the to-do list of my department. We will check all the boxes one by one and case by case. Thank you.
请大家继续提问。请中区靠后第4排第1位女士。是的。 谢谢。
谢谢主持人。香港商报记者提问，我的问题提给蓝佛安部长。部长您好，提振消费是今年两会热议的高频词，请问政策的真金白银将如何支持消费？谢谢。
Hong Kong Commercial Daily. My question is for Minister Lan Fuan. Boosting consumption is a keyword during this year's two sessions. So what kind of specific policies will be adopted to support consumption? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your
去
question.
年呢，中央财政
In
专门安
2024,
排了
the
1500
central
亿
government
的
has
超长
arranged
期特别国债，支
150
持
billion
消费
yuan
品以旧
ultra-long
换新，
special treasury bond to
带动
support
汽
consumer
车、
product trading,
家电等
which
相关产
drove
品销
related
售额
products
超过
sales to exceed
1.3万亿
1.3 trillion
效果
yuan,
很好，也
including
受到了
home
广泛
appliance
的
and cars,
欢迎。
which
这一点呢，
was
刚才
widely recognized.
郑主任和王部长
And
都
this
提
has
到
already
了。
been touched upon by my
今年
colleagues earlier. This year,
党中央进一步
the party
提出
central committee has
大力提
proposed
振消
to
费，
vigorously to
财
boost
政部门呢将坚
consumption.
决贯彻落
It is a
实。
decision that will be faithfully
我们将
implemented
统筹
by physical departments. We will
存量政
coordinate
策
existing policy
以增量政策，
with incremental policy,
统筹
the optimization
优化供给，
of
以扩大
supply
需求，
with the expansion
统
of
筹
demand
提振消费，
and the
以改善民生，
revitalization of consumption
统
with
筹
livelihood
激
improvement,
发当前消费，
stimulus to
以
current
增
consumption
强
with
经济发展后劲，
strengthening future drivers
研
of
究
growth.
制定更大力度、
And there will
更
be
加精准
stronger
的
and
政策
more
计划，
targeted policy
实打实
to
支
be
持
drafted to
提振
support
消费。
consumption.
重点包括4个方
And
面：
the policy will focus on the following
第一，
areas.
加大
First,
对消费品的直接补贴力度，
we will set to promote
加力扩
direct
围
subsidies
实
to
施
consumers,
消费品以旧
expand
换
and
新，
intensity,
释放
expand and
消费
intensify
需
the
求。
implementation of consumer good trading
今年
program
安排
to
超长期
unleash
特别国债
consumer
资金
demand.
3000亿元，
This year, we have arranged
比去年
300 billion
翻了
yuan of
一番，
ultra-long special
并
treasury
将
bond,
手
doubling
机、
the figure of
平
last
板
year. We've also
等产品
included
纳入
products
补
like
贴方案，
phones and tablets,
直接降低
which
消费者
directly
的购物
reduced
成
their
本。
cost for consumers.
今年春节前，
And before the Spring
中央
Festival
财政已经
of
预
this
拨
year,
了
the
810亿元的
early allocation of
资金，
81 billion yuan in
补
subsidy
贴资
funds
金提前到位，让广大消费者及时
gives
享
the
受
opportunity
政策
to
的
the consumer to properly benefit from
第
the
二
policy dividend.
加大对
Second,
民生
we
领
also
域的
set to
投入力
increase
度，
investment in
让
livelihood
居民
related sectors
收入更稳定，
to stabilize
保
household
障
income,
更扎实，增强消费
strengthen
能力
social security
和
and
底
boost
气。
consumer confidence.
对老年人，
For senior
今
citizens,
年将提高城乡居民基础养
this
老
year
金，
basic pension for rural and urban
适当
residents will be
提
increased.
高退休职工养老金
Pensions
水平，
for retired workers will also be
超
raised to
过
appropriate
3
level,
亿人受益。
which will benefit more than
同时，
300
加
million
强
people.
对适能老年人
In the
照
meantime,
护
we
服
will
务的
also provide better support to the services to the
对幼儿
disabled elderly citizens.
发放
For babies,
育儿补贴，
there will be child
建
raising
立
subsidies.
学前教育国家资助
We will
制度，
establish a national support system for preschool
对
education.
学生
For students,
进一步提高资助
the
补助的
standards
标准，
for subsidies will be
扩
further
大
raised,
政策覆盖面，
while the coverage of
延
the
续
policy
实施
will be
国家
expanded.
助学贷款免息
The national students
和
loan
本
interest
金
exemption
延期
and
偿还政策
principal
上，
payment deferral policy
预
will
计
be
惠及
continued.
学生
It is expected to
3400
benefit
多万人次。
over
对城乡居
3.4
民，
million people. For
将基
rural
本医
and
保人
urban
均财
residents,
政补助标准提高
their
30
basic medical insurance subsidies
达到
has been
每
increased
人
by 30
每
yuan,
年700元。
reaching 700 yuan per person
对
annually.
低收入群体
For low-income
持续
groups,
提高补贴的水平，
subsidy levels will
落
be
实
raised
对特
continuously,
困人员、
and policies
低保
for
对象
extremely
等
impoverished
困难
individuals,
群体的保障政策，
subsistence allowance recipient, and other
对
disadvantaged
就
groups
业
will be
困
further
难群体
implemented. For employment
综合
vulnerable
采
groups,
取
we
就
will
业补
implement
贴、
a comprehensive
失
policy
业保障
framework,、
技能培训、
integrating
公益
subsidies,
性岗位
unemployment
等措
safeguards,
施，
skill
促
training,
进
and
稳
welfare
岗
job
就业，
placement
获得稳
to
定的收入。
stabilize their employment and income.
第三，
Third,
加大对地方的
we will
奖
set
补
to
力度，
enhance local
引导
support
地
through
方
subsidies
提升消
and
费环境，
incentives, guide improvement
优
of
化消
consumer
费供给。
environment, and optimize supply.
一 方面，深入推进
On the
现
one
代
hand, we
商
will
贸流通体系
further
试点
promote the
城市
development
建
of
设，
pilot cities for
开
modern
展
commercial and
县域
trade
商业
circulation
建设
system,
行动，
implement
有
country-level
效发
commercial
挥政
development
策效
initiative,
果。
and leverage policy
另一方面
effectiveness. On the other
今
hand,
年中央财政
this year
新
the
增
central
安
government
排
has
补
arranged
助资金，
additional fund
带动
for
地方
subsidies and
加大投入，
incentives to mobilize local
支持
investment,
推广消费新业态、
promote
新模式，
new forms, new
新场景，
models, and new scenarios of
打造
consumption
更多消费
so
新
as
热
to
点，
create more
同时
consumer
开展
hotspots.
国际化消费城市建
We
设，
will promote the
提升
development of
消费便利
international
度
consumption
和
cities and
体验
enhance
感。
consumption convenience and experience.
第四，加大财政与金融政策联动力度，
We will strengthen the
新增
interaction
实施
between fiscal and
两
financial
项
policies
贷
and
款
carry out
贴息
2
政策，
additional loan
激
interest
发
subsidy
消费
policies
的动力。一项是
to inject
对
more
重
energy for
点领
consumption.
域的个
First
人消费贷款，
is the
给予
fiscal
财政
interest rate
贴息，
subsidies on personal consumption
减
loans
轻
in key
当期
sectors
的
to
支出
alleviate
压力。
immediate financial burdens.
另一项是
Second
对
is
餐
in
饮住宿、
key
健康、
livelihood sectors,
养
including
老、
catering and
托用、
accommodation,
家政
healthcare,
这
elderly
些与
care, 生
生
childcare,
活
and home
密切
services.
相关的领域，财政对经营主体
In these
贷
sectors,
款分类
differentiated scale subsidies
降低
will be given
融资
to
成本，
business entities to
增加
reduce
更
their
多优
financing
质服务
costs
供
and
给。
improve their capabilities
总
to
的看，
provide
这
more
一系
quality
列政策力度
services.
大，
In
覆盖
short,
广，
the policy
有
package
利
is
打
strong
开
and
消
covering
费
a
的
wide
新空间
area. It will
培
help
育
to
经济
unleash
新
new
动力。
potentials in consumption
财
and
政部
grow new
将
drivers
与
for the
有关
economy.
部门一道，
The Ministry
持
of Finance
续
will work with
抓
other
好
departments to
存
carry
量
out
政策的落实，
to carry out
推动
well the existing
增量
policy and
政策
implement
尽早
these
落地，
incremental policy
不断
in the
释放
pipeline as soon as
政策
possible
红利，
to further
形
unleash
成
public
对促消费
policy
持
dividends,
续有力的
create
支持，
sustained support
以
for
提
boosting
振消费
consumption,
进一步增强经济
and
发
with
展的
with
动力。
which to further strengthen momentum for economic growth.
请
Thank
大
you.
家继续提问。请北区第2排第3位男士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。谢谢主持人，我是中国证券报记者。我的问题是提给吴清主席的。吴主席您好，2024年9月至今，证监会会同相关部门先后印发关于推动中长期资金入市的指导意见及实施方案。请问目前政策落地进展如何？取得了哪些成效？谢谢。
China Securities Journal. My question is for Chairman Wu Qing. From last September, the CSRC, along with other departments, unveiled a guideline and an implementation plan on encouraging the flow of medium and long-term funds into the capital market. How are the policies being put into practice, and what progress has been achieved? Thank you.
非常感谢您的提问。
Thank you very much for your question. Medium and long-term funds are the stabilizer and a ballast for the healthy functioning of the capital market. Last September and in January this year, we worked with relevant sides to issue the guidelines implementation plan for attracting medium and long-term funds to the market and proposed a series of specific practical and well-targeted measures to create a more favorable institutional environment for promoting long-term investment with long-term capital. The government work report delivered yesterday once again stressed the importance of promoting the flow of medium and long-term capital into the market. Governor Pan and Minister Lan and all the other relevant government departments are working expeditiously to promote implementation, and the policy effect can already be seen. The first, there are now notably more long-term capital in the market. Under the guidance of the PBOC, 2 rounds of swap facilities operation have been conducted by securities and fund companies with a total amount of over 100 billion yuan. More than 400 listed companies have disclosed information regarding the refinancing for stock repurchase and increasing holdings, and the loan quota is close to 80 billion yuan. The National Financial Regulatory Administration launched the second pilot program on the long-term stock investment of insurance funds, with 52 billion yuan of funds approved before the Spring Festival and 60 billion yuan approved the day before yesterday. In the future, the program will continue to be gradually expanded. The Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security is now promoting the nationwide implementation of the personal pension system. To support this effort, CSRC has incorporated the first group of 85 equity index funds into the catalog of personal pension products. Since last September, insurance funds and various types of pension funds have made a net purchase of 280 billion yuan on the A-share market, providing strong support for the stabilization and recovery of the market. Second, the development of equity funds has notably picked up speed. Stock ETF products can now be registered within 5 working days. Since last year, new offerings like the CSI A500 Index Fund and the Star Composite Index product have gained wide recognition in the market. Starting from last September, a total of 449 equity funds have been registered, accounting for 70% of all registered products during the statistical period. The total scale of equity funds has increased from 6.3 trillion yuan to 7.7 trillion yuan, with its share in all public mutual funds rising from 20% to 24%. While quickly expanding in scale, the returns of public mutual funds are also steadily improving. To better protect the rights and interests of investors, we are also actively promoting the reform on the service fees of public mutual funds and reducing the comprehensive service fees in phases. This is expected to save more than 50 billion yuan for investors each year. And also through such reform, the interests of fund companies and those of investors are more closely aligned. Third, the system of long-cycle performance evaluation has been further improved. The Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, and other departments are pushing for the formulation and the revision of the policy document on the long-cycle performance evaluation of long-term capital. And as far as we know, the policy document will be released very soon. And with the release of the new document, it will pave the way for the establishment of long-cycle performance systems, minimum 5 years for Social Security funds and a minimum 3 years for annuity funds and insurance funds. In the reform plan for public mutual funds that will soon be released by CSRC, performance evaluation with a minimum of 3 years for public mutual funds will also take up a greater proportion. This will help guide the industry to pay more attention to rational, long-term, and value-based investment and a better practice the investor-centered business principle. Through the considered efforts of all sides, the implementation of the guidelines and implementation plan is now off to a good start, and more medium long-term funds are entering the market. Since last September, the market cap of A shares held by various types of medium and long-term funds has increased from 14.5 trillion yuan to 17.5 trillion yuan, 17.8 trillion yuan, up by 22%. Going forward, we will follow the instructions and guidance of the Office of the Central Financial Commission to further promote the sound implementation of various policy initiatives and endeavor to help medium and long-term funds preserve and grow their value and ensure the healthy development of the capital market. Thank you.
继续提问，下一个问题，请中区第二排，这位女士，第二位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。亚洲新闻台向王文涛先生提问。The international community has watched the U.S. and China engage in what seems to be a renewed trade war. Now, just this week, China has announced countermeasures following the U.S. further hiking tariffs on Chinese goods. Is there concern from China that this could be a prolonged, bruising trade war? And what is China's long-term response and strategy in dealing with the U.S. moving forward?
新加坡亚洲新闻台，我的问题提给王文涛部长。国际社会高度关注美中经贸关系，两国似乎已进入新一轮贸易战。就在本周，针对美国再次对中国商品加征关税，中方已宣布采取反制措施。请问中方是否担心这将导致贸易战演荡升级？从长期看，中方接下来将采取怎样的策略同美方打交道？ 谢谢。
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your
这个问
question.
题国际上
Well,
很
this
关
is
注
a question that
记者朋友也很关
has
注
attracted a lot of
昨
attention in
天
the international
就有记
community
者
and
拦
in
住
the
我
press. Yesterday, I
要
was
问
stopped by a
这个
journalist
方面的问题
asking
我说
for my
今天有个
opinion
新
on
闻发布
this
会
question,
我
and I
很希
told
望
him
今
that
天
we
这
are
位
going
记
to
者
have
在
a press
现场
conference today, and I hope that journalist is also
是您
present for the OICEU.
首先呢，我就美方
First of
以
all,
芬太尼问题为借
I
口
want to
对
say
华
a
加
few
征关税
words
先
about
做
the
个
U.S.
回应。
tariff on China
芬太尼
on the
问题呢
excuse of fentanyl.
中方有关部
On
门
the issue
已
of
经
fentanyl,
发
the
布了
relevant
白皮
Chinese
书，
department
详
has
细介
already
绍了事
issued
实
a
情
white
况
paper explaining in
中方
detail
采
the
取的
facts
措
and the
施，
position
并
and the
且
policies
阐明了
and
中方的
the
立场。
measures taken by
这
China
里我
and
特别要
stated
强调一下，
China's
太尼
China's
问
clear
题
position.
美方
Here I want to
必须
stress
尊重
that
事实。
on the fentanyl issue, the U.S. side
首
must
先
respect
要
facts
自身采取积
and
极的行动，
take positive
不能只
actions
向
on
中
its
国
own
甩
instead of
锅推责，这解
simply
决不
shifting
了
blames
自身
onto
的问题。
China, because that cannot
如
solve the
果以这
U.S.
个为由
own
对
problem.
华加征关税，更是
Even worse, levying tariffs
混淆
on
是
China
非
on this excuse,
颠
with
倒
this as an
黑白
excuse, is
美国
confounding
新政府
right
上
and
台
wrong
后
and turning black into white.
大家都看到了，先后发布了美国第一
As we can see
贸易政策
after its inauguration, the new U.S. administration has released the
恢复了
American
对全
First
球贸易
Trade and
伙伴
Investment
征收
Policy
232的
Memorandum,
钢
reinstated
铝关税，
its Section 232
宣布要征
tariffs
收
on
对等关
steel
税，
and aluminum against its
还对中
global
国
trading
造船等
partners,
行业提
and
出征
announced
收
the
港口费
decision
等
to
301关税调查
levy
措施。
reciprocal tariff. It also
这个关税
proposed
的单
Section 301
似乎
actions,
越
including
来越拉长。
imposing fees
这些以
on
关
China's
税
shipmaking,
威胁
shipbuilding, and other
要挟
industries.
的措施是典型的单边主
These
义
practices of
霸凌主义，
extortion with the threat of tariffs
世贸组织
are
规则
a typical
不仅
practices
破
of
坏了中美的
unilateralism
正
and
常的
bullying.
经贸
They
关系，
seriously
而且
violate
扰
the
乱了
WTO
全球产
rules,
业链供应链的稳
disrupt,
定，阻碍了世界
undermine
经济的发
normal
展。
economic and
这
trade
也必将
cooperation between
使
China and the
美
United
国民
States,
众和美国
disrupt
企
the
业的利
stability in global
是
industrial
典
supply
型的
chains,
生
and
物利益。
impede the development of the
大
world
家可能都
economy.
关注到
Ultimately,
美国的
they
资
will
本市
also
场
hurt the
关
interests of
税
American
一出
people
来以
and
后，
American
美
companies.
国的三大
These are
公司
classic cases
应
of
声响
hurting
应。
others without benefiting
我
oneself.
这里
As
想
we
特别
can
说的，
see, after
贸
the
易
U.S.
战
side announced
没
the
有赢家，
tariffs, the three
保
major
护主
index
义
in the
没
American
有
stock
出路。
market fell on the news.
美方
I
单
want
边
to
主义
stress
和霸
that
凌主
trade
义
war
行
has
径
no
一
winner
招
and
了而动，
protectionism
引起
leads
国际
nowhere.
社会
The
广泛的
unilateral
担忧
policies and bullying
和
practices of the U.S.
普遍的
side
反对。
are against the trend of the times. They have
中国的
caused wide concerns
传统
and
交往之道
opposition of the
是
international
敬人者
community.
人也敬之，
Traditional Chinese
不敬
wisdom
人者
observes that he who
当以
respects
其人
others
之
will
道
be respected
还
in
治其
return.
人之
He
身，
who disrespects
胁迫
others should be
要挟
treated with the same way
对
he
中国
treats
是行不
others.
通，也下不到
Coercion and extortion
中方
will
捍卫
not
自
work
身利
on
益的
China,
决
and
心
they cannot
是
intimidate
坚
China
定
either.
不移的。
China is firm
针对美
in
方
its
采取的
resolve
单边征
to
税措施
upholding
已经根据
to
国际法
safeguarding
基
its
本原则
own
和法律法规，我们
interests.
采取了必要
As for
的
the unilateral
反制措施。
tariffs imposed by the U.S. side, we have already taken necessary response measures in accordance with basic principles governing international law and the relevant laws and regulations. If the U.S. side goes further down this wrong path, we will continue to
中方
respond
始终
in
认为
kind.
中美经贸
China
关系
always
本
believes
质
that
是互利互
China-U.S. economic ties
不
are
存在
essentially
永
mutually
远吃亏
beneficial.
谁
There's
永
no
远
such
占
thing
便
as
宜的
one
问
side
题。
always
事实的数据
suffers
充分说
losses
明，
and the other
用
side
关
always
税
gains
筑墙改
benefits.
变不了
Facts
市
and
场规律，
statistics
也
can
挡不住
fully prove
合作
that building walls with tariffs cannot change the laws of the market or stop the progress of cooperation. In 2024, China-US trade amounted to $688.2 billion, up 18% from 2017. According to the China Business Climate Survey Report 2025, released by AmCham China, 46% of the respondent companies plan to increase investment in 2025. And 46% of them saying that they are expected to gain profits, and even by a large margin. If China and the United States could both succeed, it will be an opportunity for the other side, not a threat. The two countries share extensive common interests, and a broad cooperation space. China-US cooperation serves the fundamental interests of the two peoples and meets the expectation of the international community. As two major countries with different national realities, it is normal for us to have differences in economy and trade. If the U.S. side truly wants to solve the problems, it should act like a big country and follow the right path, the right way to get along. Last month, I wrote letters to the new Minister of Commerce and Trade Representative of the United States, expressing the hope to address each other's concerns through equal-footed dialogue and consultation. Our two sides can meet at an appropriate time, and our teams can also have communication as early as possible. We hope that the U.S. side will work with China in the same direction pointed by the two presidents during their phone conversation. Act on the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation, enhance dialogue, manage differences, and advance cooperation, and work together to push for the healthy, stable, and sustainable development of China-U.S. economic ties. Thank you.
我们给后区的同志给一个机会。中区第5排，这位男士，对。
谢谢，我是封面新闻记者。我的问题想提给中国人民银行潘功胜行长。潘行长您好，我们知道防控金融风险是金融工作的永恒主题。我想请问，当前重点领域金融风险的情况如何？金融支持地方融资平台化债有何进展？下一步在防控金融风险方面还有哪些重点工作？谢谢。
The cover. My question is for Governor Pan Gongsheng. Preventing and controlling financial risks is an internal theme of the financial work. How is the situation in preventing and controlling financial risks in key areas? What progress has been made in terms of supporting local financing platforms in diffusing debts through financial means? And going forward, what are the key tasks in preventing financial risks?
好，谢谢。
Thank you for your
目前
question.
我国的金融体系总体
At
健康，
present, China's
金融机构的
financial
整体
system is stable on the whole.
金融
Our
体系
financial
总体稳
institutions
健
are，
金融机
generally
构的整
healthy.
体健康，地方债务和房地产市场的风险持
Risks
速
in
收
local
敛，
government debt
金
and
融
the
市
property
场
market
运
have
行平
continued to
稳。
drop, and our financial market
一
is
是我们稳妥推
operating
进高
steadily.
风险中
First,
小金融
China
机
has
构的改
taken
革化
prudent steps to reduce risks
到
of high
24
risk,
年
medium to
2024
small
年
financial
末，商业
institutions
银
through
行资本充
reform.
足率
As of the end
10%，
of last year,
不良
commercial
贷款
banks'
的比例
capital adequacy
1.5%，
ratio
国
was
备覆盖
lower
率
than 16%.
211%。
Our
更显著
non-performing
的高
loan
于
ratio
监管
was
标准。
1.5%, and
这些
provision
银行
coverage
业的
ratio
主
was
要的指标也显
211%,
示了
all
我国银
significantly
行业
higher
的
than
健康性。
regulatory benchmarks.
人民银行监管部门和
That
地方政
shows
府
the
协同配合，
stability of
按照
our
市场
financial
化法
market.
化的原则，综合运
In
用
line
在线
with
修复、
principles of law
监
and
理
the
重组、
market, the
市场退
PBOC,
出
together
等
with
多种方
regulators
式，
and local
稳妥
governments, have
处置
used
中小银
real-time
行的风险。
repair, merger and
高风
restructure,
险中
withdrawal
小银行
from
的数量
market, and other
较
means
风
to
险已下降一
prudently
半。
deal with risks of medium to small
二是积极支持房地产
banks,
市
and
场
the
风
number
险
of
化
high-risk banks has been
和
halved
平稳
from the
健康
peak.
发展。
The second, we
去年
have
人民银
actively
行立足
supported
宏
risk
观审慎管理
alleviation
之
in
下，
and
优化
steady
调整房地
and
产
sound
金融政策，
development of the property market
统一
last
返
year,
贷在
based
低首
on
付
our
比例到
macro-prudential
15%，降低
management
新
mandate,
发放贷
we
款
have
比例，
improved financial
推
policies
动
for
降
the
低
property
存量
market.
放贷比
We
例。
have lowered the down payment
去
ratio
年
to
的存量房贷利
15%
率的下
and
行，
reduced
每
the
年
new
可以
mortgage
为超过5000
interest
万户的
rate
家庭
and worked for
减少
lower
利
rate
息
of
支出，
existing
大概是
mortgage.
1500。
These
引导
policies
金融机
will
构支
help
持保交
over
楼，
50 million families save
加上
around
金营
150
主
billion
体
yuan
通过
of
调整
interest
经营
payment
策略、
each year.
债务重
We
组
have
等方
guided
式
financial
进行了自
institutions
我
to
修复。
support delivery of housing
近期的山
projects,
频繁的
and
交
relevant
易量、
market players
交易
have
价格、
carried out
房地
self-repair
产
through
贷
new
款
operating
等多
tactics
项指
and
标
debt restructuring
实
and
现
so
了房地
on.
产市场的活跃度上
Recently,
升。
debt indicators such as commercial
三是金融支
housing
持
unit
融资
sales and
平台
prices,
化
laws
债
of property
和重
sector
要的阶
all
段
point
性
to a rise of activities in the
人民银
property
行与有关部门
market.
和地方政府采
Third,
取
we have
多项有
achieved
力的措
important
施，
progress
弱
in
化
debt
地方
alleviation
融
of
资平
financing
台的债务
vehicles.
风险。
We have adopted
首先，
strong
严
measures
肃财
together
经
with
纪律，
relevant
推
departments
动地
and
方
local
政府统
governments to
筹资金、
reduce debt
资产、
risks
资源
of local
化解
financing
债务风
vehicles.
险。
First, we have
第二，
urged for serious
支持地
adherence
方
to
政府通
financial
过
and
注入资
economic
产、
discipline
并购
and
重
urge
组
local
等方式，
governments to
剥离融
mobilize
资
resources, funds, and assets at hand to reduce debt risks. Second, we have supported local governments in conducting injection of assets, merger and restructuring to remove the government fundraising functions of the vehicles and transform them into market-based entities. Third, we have guided financial institutions based on principles of the market and law to conduct consultation with financing vehicles and use reduction of interest rate, extension of loans, and other means to alleviate the vehicle's liquidity and interest burden. With collective efforts, we have significantly reduced the debt risk of financing vehicles. And since 2023, the PBOC has established a standardized day-to-day monitoring system for debt of financing vehicles, under which local governments and financial institutions both submit data on debt, which will be cross-checked. Compared to early 2023, as of the end of 2024, nearly 40% of local government financing vehicles have exited market through different means. The debt of financing vehicles mainly have two parts. First, hidden debts, and second, operational debt. Minister Lan just briefed you on the alleviation of hidden debt by those vehicles. Let me touch upon the operational debt of those vehicles. As of 2024, the scale of those vehicles' operational debt is 14.8 trillion yuan, which is 25% down compared to early 2023. Nearly 3/4 of these operational debts are borne by major economic provinces in central and eastern China, and they have strong capacity in alleviating debt burdens. In fourth quarter of 2024, the average interest rate of newly issued bonds by financing vehicles is 2.67%. This shows that the financial market's risk premium for financing vehicles is significantly lower. Fourth, we have explored steps to expand macroprudential and financial stability functions to ensure stable performance of the foreign exchange, bond, and stock markets. On the foreign exchange market, we have stayed committed to the decisive role of market in formulation of exchange rate. In the face of external shocks and challenges, we have decisively taken measures, including macroprudential management, at proper time. At the same time, we have strengthened guidance for expectations and communication with market players and rectified pro-cyclical behaviors in the market to prevent risk of foreign exchange rate overshooting. While many non-US dollar currencies depreciated to different extents, we have kept basic stability of the RMB exchange rate. Now our economic fundamentals continue to improve. We have basic equilibrium of international balance of payments. Our foreign exchange market is more resilient, and we have more extensive use of hedging instruments. We have the experience and confidence and capability to ensure the stability of foreign exchange market. On the bond market, as of the end of last year, the default rate of bond was around 0.25%, still at a low level. At the same time, in response to rapid decline of long-term treasury bond yield in a short period of time, we have observed market operation from a macroprudential perspective and conducted timely risk notice for relevant institutions to forestall the accumulation of risks. On capital market, we have worked together with the CSRC to create the SFISF, which was briefly touched upon by Chairman Wu Qing. And so far, we have conducted 2 operations using this swap facility. And as of February of this year, listed firms have disclosed intention to apply for a maximum of 75 billion yuan of loans for share buybacks and holding increase. Going forward, we will continue to hold the red line of no systemic financial risk. First of all, we will closely follow the connection between macroeconomic performance fluctuations with financial risks. We will continue to keep a dynamic balance between economic growth, economic structural adjustment, and prevention of financial risks, and strengthen countercyclical adjustment to provide a sound monetary and financial environment for high-quality development. Second, we will guard against external shocks and external risks, which was touched upon by Minister Wang Wentao. At the same time, at present, we face a more complicated and serious external environment. Unilateralism, protectionism on the rise, global supply chains and industry chains are unstable, geopolitical tensions have led to greater tensions. Major economies, inflation, and monetary policies have led to greater uncertainty, which have impacted market expectations and investment confidence. This has brought spillover effects to China's stable financial and economic performance. We will strengthen monetary assessment early warning against external risks and improve our measures to guard against external shocks, so as to protect our financial security. Third, we will strengthen the effectiveness of financial regulation. Financial regulation is the first defense against financial risks. We will strengthen our capacity building in monitoring early warning assessment of financial risks, improve risk response mechanism that has commensurate powers and responsibility, and improves both incentives and restraints, and also create a better early warning, early identification, and early response measures. The fourth, we will improve our macro-prudential management policies, better to strengthen counter-cyclical management, such as capital buffer, and expand and explore more policy tools for financial stability and macro-prudential management. Thank you.
谢谢主持人。每日经济新闻记者提问，我的问题提给国家发改委郑三杰主任。今年是“十四五”规划的收官之年，也是谋划“十五五”规划的关键一年。这几年，全国人民一起经历了很多大事难事。您如何看待这几年经济社会发生的变化？能否介绍一下“十五五”规划的相关情况？谢谢。
National Business Daily. My question is for Chairman Zheng Shanjie. This year is the final year of implementing the 14th Five-Year Plan. It is also a crucial year for formulating the 15th Five-Year Plan. Over the past years, the Chinese people together have experienced many big things and difficulties. What do you think of the changes in social and economic development these years? And could you please tell us more about the 15th Five-Year Plan? Thank you.
谢谢。
Thank you for your question. The issue you have raised, or which you have talked about the 14th Five-Year Plan, is something that everyone is thinking about and is also a part of. Since the implementation of the 14th Five-Year Plan under the strong leadership of the Party Central Committee with Commerce Team at its core, the whole nation has worked in unity, transforming the blueprint of the 14th Five-Year Plan bit by bit into reality. And we have to say that progress made are all in line with expectation. To take a holistic approach, China's comprehensive strength was boosted, and the overall stability was maintained in the society. And the image of China as trustworthy, lovable, respectable has gained wider international recognition. In the specifics, it can be seen in the following 6 aspects. First, huge increase in comprehensive strength. China's economy has presented the strength as a world major country. The aggregated sum of our GDP is growing year by year. It is estimated that the growth over the period of the 14th Five-Year Plan will register at 30 trillion yuan in that period. That is to say, we have created another Yangtze Delta economic region. Or internationally, it is the equivalent of the annual GDP output of a developed economy. China is also the largest source of growth for global economy. Second is increased industrial competitiveness. China has formed a complete industrial system. In industries, we have 41 industrial divisions, 207 groups, and 666 clusters, making China the only country that has all the industrial clusters and divisions in the world. In the meantime, our industrial chain is also moving fast towards high and mid-end. Third is increase in scientific innovation. China is seeing great breakthroughs in basic research as well as key technologies. We have secured many quote-unquote first times in China and many first time in the world. For example, in areas like integrated circuits, artificial intelligence, quantum technology, aerospace, maritime technology, high-speed railway, and many other areas we're seeing more and more breakthroughs coming at our way. And on homemade cruise ships, airliners, nuclear power plants, heavy-duty gas turbines have also attracted wide attention. It is fair to say that Made in China is transforming into Create in China or Innovate in China. Just now, my colleagues have mentioned that the press conference today are seeing greater content of sci-tech innovation-related contents. It is truly the case, because we can say that sci-tech innovation are coming out of ways in waves, which is fundamentally reshaping our lives. Fourth is increase in capacity of protecting people's well-being. In recent years, we have spent no effort in stabilizing employment, boosting income, and created 15 million urban jobs. And income growth is basically in line with economic growth. And the public services and social security system was strengthened, and pensions are rising. Just now, my colleagues have already also briefed you on this. And direct settlement of cross-provincial medical bills becoming much more convenient, and more community-based services are available at doorstep, and our environment quality has been improved. This is something that everyone can feel. You can see the sky is turning bluer, and water cleaner, and grass greener. The fifth, increase in security foundation. Food and energy security have all marched on new levels, and the resilience and level of security has been boosted in the industrial chain and supply chain as well as in the financial sector. And on infrastructure supporting our development, for example, in terms of operating distance of high-speed railway reached 48,000 kilometers. That is approximately 70% of the whole world. The operating distance of highway has reached 190,000 kilometers, ranking first in the world. And for example, the total scale of computing power has doubled in recent years. And the data production is growing at a faster pace. And the growth of our data production is basically equivalent to the aggregated data of 15 million national libraries. Six, the image and profile as a major country will further promote it. China has signed Belt and Road cooperation documents with 150 plus countries and 30 plus international organizations. We have advanced in a parallel manner signatory project as well as small and beautiful livelihood projects. We have carried out extensive cooperation on industries and investments with countries around the world. The three major initiatives proposed by President Xi Jinping are becoming global consensus. China has fully played out its role as a responsible major country. We will continue to expand high-level, high-standard opening up. And you all know that we have removed all the barriers on foreign investment to the infrastructure, to the manufacturing businesses. And in terms of the measures on the negative list, it has been further reduced to 29 clauses. We have continued to broaden space for win-win cooperation. After years of implementing the 14th five-year plan, the confidence we have for high-quality development is further boosted. This year, we're going to act on the decisions of the Party Central Committee and State Council, and we will do well the formulation of the 15th five-year plan, as well with the focus of the following two things. First is that we will implement the sessions of the Party Central Committee to draft the 15th five-year plan. On the basis of thorough research, we will work with relevant parties to draft outlines with and propose a series of important strategies, important policies, as well as important projects. And the draft outline will be submitted to the next year's two sessions. Second, we will draft a batch of important specialized plans and regional plans. These plans will cover scientific innovation, industrial development, social programs, cultural development, and eco-environment. And the areas that are close, that has close connections with the people, for example, employment, education, healthcare, and social security will also be included. And the drafting of the outline of the 15th five-year plan is a process that requires us to pull wisdom and consensus from the public. We will adopt different methods and listen carefully to the suggestions and advices from the deputies of the NPC as well as the CPPCC, from the general public, entrepreneurs, scholars, and experts, so that we can make this 15th five-year plan better reflects the needs of development and the people. Thank you.
媒体朋友们，现在已经过了2个多小时，因为时间的原因呢，今天的记者会到此结束。谢谢各位嘉宾，谢谢大家。
Friends from the press, in the interest of time, the press conference will end here. Thank you, distinguished guests. Thank you all. 谢谢。